It might be possible to run to the moon and just. I know
No.
that sounds crazy.
No.
You know that sounds
Yeah,
crazy.
because it is.
Do you know how far away the moon is?
Okay, but do you know how far this guy who is running through Africa has run already?
Not even close.
I don't care how far this
I
guy
just need
that
to
you
check.
know.
I just need to check how far the moon is.
238,900 miles
Okay.
from Earth to the moon.
Okay.
Billy's
too
guy's
far.
probably running 150.
Okay, let me readjust.
Welcome back to Macrodosing and happy holidays. It is Thursday. It is December 21st. That would mean this is the longest day of the year. Shortest day of the year.
It's the winter eclipse.
By longest day, I mean like the worst day of the year. There's no sunlight. We've made it. It's the winter solstice. Winter solstice today. Fuck you to the dark. We're bringing back the sun. I can't wait. It's getting dark too early outside. It's dark at like 4 o'clock.
Now this is a rumor, and I didn't care enough to Google it.
No, that's fact.
No, not that, fam. I'm on something else. My homeboy told me that we ain't doing daylight savings no more. Is he just bullshitting?
Yeah.
He's bullshitting.
No, that's
every
true.
couple years, so like 2 years ago, maybe there was something in Congress that like I think passed that was like maybe getting rid of it, but then I don't know that it ever came to fruition.
I think this year was the last year of it.
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I think that
Is it?
they've
I don't
talked
know.
about it, and I
Isn't
think
it
it's been
state by state?
Oh, I thought it was true.
It's
well,
been
there's a
like-
couple that don't observe it.
I know
been like-
Arizona doesn't acknowledge it.
Maybe
Right.
Texas is joining them.
I would love that because I just want more time to golf. There was a point in time this winter where the sun's setting at 4:30, dog.
Yeah,
And that's nonsense. It's just ridiculous.
it's earlier up here. It sets like I take Blake to the dog park every day if I can after I get home from work.
You're a good
And
dad.
I'm great dad, and now it's like I take him up there at like 4 o'clock when I can, and it's already starting to get dark. It's bad. And in New York City, it gets darker earlier because the sun sets behind the buildings, and so the streets are dark. And it's it's tough. I understand the seasonal affective depression thing because you're not seeing the sun. I'm whiter than I've ever been right now. I'm whiter than almost anybody on planet Earth, and it's sad.
Yeah, Edward from
Twilight.
Yeah, that's me.
You should get one of those indoor sunlight.
I do have a sun lamp. I bought it during COVID. I thought that would be a good thing. And it's the most annoying sun lamp in the world because you have to like reset it every 30 minutes to keep it going or else it turns off automatically.
What is a sun lamp?
It's a UV lamp for like vitamin D.
Okay.
They do it in like Antarctica, places with low sunlight, to like help the absorption of vitamin D.
There you go.
But I also think it has like timing effects on your brain. Like when the sun rises, you wake up. So some people keep it by their bed as like an alarm clock because it's better to wake up with just light as opposed to like a crazy alarm clock.
Man, that reminds me how privileged I am.
Not having to set an alarm clock?
I just haven't had to wake up for anything in a while.
Damn.
When was the last time you set an alarm?
Whoa.
Well, like if I have like something to do, like, you know what I'm saying, get with the kids, go places, planes, stuff like that. Yeah, but like nothing like pressing on some like I gotta be here or else. You know what I mean?
That's pretty cool.
That's the biggest flex ever.
No, it's a privilege. Absolutely, it's a privilege. Privilege I earned, but it's definitely a privilege.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is a great day. I would say that Thursday, the 21st, Friday, the 22nd, probably the biggest not doing shit days at any office, right? Like you're checked out right now. You're probably listening to this podcast at work. Nothing's happening. No emails are getting answered. You can really just say after Thanksgiving, it's like, well, I'll circle back on this after the holidays.
Are you of the opinion that if you don't have those days off, you should take them off fully and be like, don't talk to me until January 2nd? Or go to work because nobody's doing anything, but then like it's going to be so boring?
I guess it depends on your family situation. Like if you have some place to be, take that time off. But if you don't really have anything going on during the holidays, that's a good time to go into work and just kind of dick around at work for that entire week and then save your time off for another time.
That's also the time when a lot of like bonuses get handed out in cash, so it makes a lot of people stick around. It
What kind of businesses are we
incentivizes.
talking about here?
That
cash.
sounds not legal.
What? Never mind. Construction sites, like factories.
Factories.
Like,
I think the big boss, like the head of
Yeah.
the Ford Corporation, goes down the assembly line, hands an envelope to every guy.
yeah,
Here you go. Thanks for sticking around. Don't tell anybody. Just fell off the truck.
yeah, exactly.
Well, it's a good day to not do shit at work today. That's what I'm getting at. So shout out to all the listeners out there, anyone that has listened to Macrodosing in the past calendar year. We appreciate you. Just take some time, relax. Being relaxed is important around the holidays. A lot of
Get you
stress
some
going on.
eggnog.
Do some eggnog. That's right. Here in the studio, we declared it Eggnog Day.
We nogging it up.
We nogging it up. I've got some Stella Blue coffee here. I got some eggnog going. We have the alcoholic and non-alcoholic. Arian's rocking the Southern Comfort. Billy's got the Farmland's Best. We've got Vanderhout right here. We stand on business on this podcast with our eggnog. Oh, look at that.
Ooh.
Arian's doing an all-time flex. He's got Toki Japanese whiskey that he's mixed with his eggnog, and he's got a microplane and fresh nutmeg. Very festive.
Oh shit.
Arian, did you know that nutmeg is a hallucinogen?
Yeah, I think I told you that on this podcast.
Oh, okay. Cool.
It was like the first episode.
No, that was like a year in. Because I didn't find out until last Christmas, actually. No. Last Thanksgiving. I was cooking. I took a cooking class. So I have like a cooking, you know what I'm saying? It was like a date thing, or you go and you know what I'm saying, learn how to cook a dish. And she was telling me, like, you can't do too much nutmeg. I was like, why? This shit tastes amazing. And she was like, you will hallucinate. I said, what? And then too much can kill you.
Yeah. You can OD.
Right before we started recording, you said that nutmeg is the best seasoning. Is
said
that in?
For sweet.
Okay. Because I was gonna ask if that included like salt and stuff. Because like
Salt is absolutely the best seasoning, right?
for sure.
Pepper, very close second, but salt number one, pepper two. And then this is where you get into the weeds of, you know, preference. I like spice. You got
We used to fight
cayenne,
wars over salt.
I'm a big fan of garlic.
Definitely. Garlic's amazing.
Yeah.
Garlic's amazing.
That's my number 3. Actually, I might even put it at 2.
Really? Over
Garlic's
pepper?
great.
Garlic over pepper?
I'd put garlic over pepper.
I don't know if I could do that, man. Cause let's say I'm cooking a steak, right? All I use is salt and pepper, but I use garlic in the pan to
Right.
baste it with the butter.
Mm-hmm.
But there's no way I could just have just salt. Nah, I gotta go
Is
pepper.
garlic technically a spice?
I would
Seasoning.
consider it to be garlic powder is
Yeah,
a spice.
is a spice.
But fresh garlic, I think, it's an accoutrement.
It's both an herb
Okay.
and it is actually a root vegetable, but it comes in spice forms.
I think the seasoning blends are my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Can we rank seasoning blends?
What is the seasoning?
Like pumpkin spice.
For example, like Italian seasoning would be a seasoning blend.
I do like the Talon seasoning.
Lemon pepper would be a seasoning blend. Cajun seasoning salt would be a seasoning blend.
Oh, I have.
Cajun number one.
Yeah.
Cajun's pretty fucking good.
Trader Joe's has one that's everything but the leftovers, and that one's really, really good. And I don't know what's in it, but it's so good.
Is that like the Thanksgiving seasoning blend? It's got like sage, rosemary.
I'm gonna look. I don't know. I put it on everything though, and it's onion, sea salt, yeast, salt, ground black pepper, turmeric, celery seed. Yeah, it's like a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
A savory melange
Melange.
of spices and herbs that gives a nod to a traditional meal.
Yeah, I like that. Really, any sort. I'm just a sucker for seasoning blends in general.
Just makes life easier.
It does. Lemon pepper has been my up and comer this year. I put lemon pepper on a lot of stuff because I like the tang
Have
and
you
I
s-
like
have,
I
have
like
you
the spice.
have you seen that Oprah Winfrey clip where there's this white woman on her show and she's like cooking chicken and like I guess she does like review things with the people that are cooking them
Hmm.
and then Oprah's trying it and then she goes like this. She said, "Do you not like it?" She's like, and the crowd just starts laughing and she's like, "No, I like it. I like it." And she said, "I don't remember. Did we put any salt or pepper on the chicken?" And the lady was like, "No, there's no salt or pepper." And she goes, "Oh, it could use a little salt and a little pepper." She was comedy, dog.
Yeah, you gotta. I mean, I don't understand people that just like boil chicken. Billy probably does it. I think Billy's got the mentality of eating chicken like it's taking medicine. You know, like it's protein, it's good for you. I'm gonna eat this thing because it's gonna make me bigger and stronger over the long term. I don't think Billy really eats that frequently for flavor.
I just blend it up.
Where you
I'm
blend
kidding. I'm
chicken?
kidding. I'm kidding. You can. I know people who've done it who just drink like they buy cooked chicken breast and just blend it and drink it. But I don't do that. I actually do have poultry seasoning on chicken.
That's another good one. Is the poultry season?
Poultry seasoning. Now I know what we're talking about because
Oh, wait. I think we skipped past that too fast. There are people that blend chicken and drink it.
in protein shakes.
I had never heard of that shit, bro.
Yeah, like some bodybuilders do it. They like buy the pre-cooked chicken that's just white meat chicken. They just blend it.
Well, okay.
I see.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. It's a big bodybuilding forums thing.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's that many people that are blending their chicken.
There's a decent like if they like don't have whey protein powder.
Then we'll just blend up some chicken,
Or like, what about? I feel like people more do like
eggs.
raw eggs. Yeah.
Yeah, it just helps you consume more protein faster.
God, it's about like efficiency.
Yeah, because like chicken, when you're eating like tons of chicken breast to like put on tons of weight, it's just easier if it's to take down if it's blended.
What is
'Cause-
MSG? Because MSG is it's something that Frank the Tank puts on like every meal.
It's the basketball mecca.
Yeah, that's true.
Monosodium glutamate.
Yeah, so is that delicious?
It's this might be an urban legend, but it's in a lot of Chinese food and was demonized
Yeah,
as like to say it was bad for you.
yeah,
It I think it's just technically a different kind of salt.
yeah. I think it just makes everything taste really good.
It's a flavor enhancer. Yeah.
Yeah,
Often added to restaurant foods. When did it come about? Is this something that's like modern?
feels like it came about in the '80s, and then in the late '80s, people were like, "Oh, Chinese food, MSG." Then it got a bad rap throughout the '90s and 2000s, and now people are like, "Hey, MSG is actually just good."
It's big in soup.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. Campbell's. Oh. Big in Japanese cuisine, ramen, gravy, stews. Huh. So Frank the Tank just has it like in powder form?
Yeah, you can buy it in powder form. It's just like a salt that you sprinkle on stuff. I forget what the brand name is that he always uses. Shit, it's in like every Tank Cooks video. What is it
Jeez.
called? There's somebody out there screaming at their phone right now. PFT, you
Cheetah would
idiot.
probably know.
Wait a
Yeah, I would
second.
know.
Idiot.
This MSG was produced by a German chemist in 1866. It then was shared with the Japanese.
Okay.
There might be some problematic. How did it get from Germany to Japan? When did that start? Wait a
Yeah,
second.
let's look into that.
Yeah, I'm looking into that.
Is this like Pervitin? Is this like the
Yeah,
German meth? Maybe there's a little German meth in there.
this is Pervitin for food. It's just enhancing the food.
Yeah, I'd be
Carl-
okay. I'd be okay with the U.S. government microdosing meth into all of our food, just to make us all a little bit more productive.
That's kind of wild.
They're doing that Adderall.
Is that in all our food?
They're giving it to all the kids.
They are. The kids do get it. The name of the MSG product, I just looked it up. It's Accent. That's what Frank has all the time. He sprinkles on everything. But
I'm
yeah,
glad he
MSG.
started to like walk and stuff because I know like Barstool's like a funny place and shit, but like man is getting up there, bro.
Oh yeah, he's actually lost a ton of weight since he started working here because he's like active. He's walking around. He's got a guy that Jenks that goes with him on all these walks, documents what Frank does, and Frank's lost like I want to say like over 100 pounds, right?
Mhm.
I think so.
Yeah, he's doing great.
I remember remember Lil Terrio?
Yeah,
Ooh, kill him.
So yeah, ooh. So when that thing first popped off, I saw us in the league, and that shit was going around. I just felt so bad. I invited him to come and work out with me.
Yeah.
People never reached back out, but I was like, "Yo, this is horrible, bro."
He's
Like,
in. I don't
is
know
he-
if
is he
he's
doing
in
well now?
college. No,
Is
he
he?
plays college ball. He is the
Nah,
the
you talking
kid-
about the
Yeah,
Popeye
I'm
meme
about
guy.
to-
Yeah. Nah, I don't know what little. Matter of fact, let me do a quick little. I know you on the gram somewhere. All right, I got a little Terrio update.
okay.
I am pleased to see that he's like turning his life around. He's like making workout videos and he's dropped a ton of weight. You can tell he's dropped a whole bunch of weight and he's like doing like motivational type stuff. That's dope, man, because he gained all that fame just for being like a big funny kid and more so just being big. And so shout out to Lil Terrio for like changing that mold, man. Y'all remember that? I don't know if you ever seen this movie. There's this movie where there was these internet hackers that were like psychos, and and this is why like I don't know, man. A lot of times I agree with villains, but he wanted to prove a point that society was evil, and so what he did was he like hooked somebody up to like this chair, and there were these heat lamps all over, right? And he says, I have somebody hooked up to this heat lamp to all these heat lamps. He says, if somebody if and it's, I'm gonna live stream it. The more people that watch, the hotter it's gonna get, and
Okay.
eventually it will burn him to death if enough people watch. But if nobody watches, he'll just sit there, and nothing will happen to him. And sure enough, more and more people logged on and watched a man burn to death. And he did that, and he kept kidnapping people and doing stuff that the more that you watch, the faster that the person died. And so it's like that's what I feel. I say all this. That's what I feel like with Lil Terrio is like, man, he garnered like so much fame so fast that it was like almost enabling him to eat bad and be unhealthy. It's like sad, but it's good to see him bounce back, man.
That is great. Yeah. And with Frank, it's kind of the same thing. Frank has really turned his life around from a physical standpoint. Can we look up and see how much weight he's lost?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's super active now.
Not bad.
So shout out Frank the Tank. Shout out for Accent Food too, because I'm gonna have to pick up some MSG. Get on that MSG train. I had an idea for something we could do on this here podcast, macrodosing. Involve the macrodosians a little bit to file submissions. I was thinking we could go back in history every week on the show and do a man of the week. It also could be a girl. It also could be a woman, but we're just going to call it man of the week.
Just those two, or
What?
could it be? I don't know.
Non-binary?
You only said man and woman.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, absolutely, it could be non-binary.
Oh, okay.
Animals.
Love that. I love that you're being inclusive, Big T.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not.
awesome.
I was just checking.
No, you are. That's great.
There's definitely being inclusive, and we appreciate it. And so do
Yeah,
they.
awesome.
Well, I was just seeing if what PFT believed, but
No, I mean, you're great. Good for you for your mind going there because you called me out on something that I was doing that might have ostracized.
no, you were
a
correct
couple
the
listeners.
first time.
No, but
Yeah,
thank
no,
you for
but
bringing that up. So
we
big T,
appreciate that.
shout out Woke T.
Sure.
Yeah.
Just calling us out on our privilege and our blind spots. So
Right.
Big T is absolutely 100% correct on that.
Sad to see you go down this path.
Could be man of the week, and it could be man of the week implies anybody.
Human of the week.
Human. Oh, yeah, you took the words out of my human of the week.
I
Yeah.
like that historical human of the week.
Well,
Human of the week.
I think we're not including animals. I think that's exclusionary.
Nah, I'm cool with that.
I was gonna
racist.
say now they have to identify as human. Like
Nah,
the
I'm
bigotry
I'm
is
species. I'm species. Fuck
staggering.
animals. Don't care.
No, I actually think that an animal could exist in this world
Never.
as human of the week. I'll give you
Never.
an example. So what I'm going for here is just a crazy fucking person throughout
humans.
history.
Humans are animals. So
Yeah.
True.
Very true.
So,
So what I'm going for here is like a crazy fucking human that existed that we don't really know about, that we don't talk about that much these days. Maybe not worthy of a full episode deep dive, but somebody that we can talk up and acknowledge. For example, if we wanted to do an animal that's the man of the week or human of the week, it would be Wojtek the
I knew
bear
you were gonna say
in
that.
World War II that carried around artillery shells, drank vodka, and smoked cigarettes with the troops. And now they've got like 7 statues for this fucking bear in Eastern Europe that was just a beast of a man.
Dude,
But the person I had in mind,
I mean, I don't think that term doesn't really hit when it's an actual beast.
how about dude of the week?
Nah, this is person of the week. No, because I don't know. Call it what you want. Just
Dude of the
continue.
week.
Dude of the week, I guess.
Du-
Yeah.
Dude of the week is I would like to propose John Stapp. Maybe he is a distant maybe grandfather of Scott Stapp from Creed. I don't know. Probably not. Have you guys heard about this guy? He was in the U.S. Air Force.
Mm-mm.
He was a flight surgeon. He was a physician, and he studied the effects of acceleration and deceleration on the human body. Right? Because we were just figuring out how to go fast and shit at the time, figuring out how likely is it for a human to survive a crash at this speed, at this speed, at this speed. So he was in the Air Force, and he volunteered himself to conduct plane safety studies. So out in the desert, him and Chuck Yeager would get together, and they would strap themselves to like a rocket sled. They would take off on the rocket sled, and then they would try to stop it as fast as possible to study whether or not the human body could survive a deceleration like that, right? So he would be like, okay, on this run, I'm going to put on a seatbelt that goes over my lap. On this one, I'm going to wear one that goes over my chest. On this one, I'm going to wear one that has a strap going across my body and then across my lap, and we're going to see what the safest one is. So he would go out on these sled runs on like a weekly basis, and he would usually end up breaking a bone. Like he would break his wrist. He would break a couple ribs. He would break his other wrist. He would just destroy his body over and over and over again to see how much force the human body could take when it stopped. And they also had some where he was sitting backwards and they would stop. They had some where he was sitting sideways and he would stop. And it was a voluntary basis thing. Like they were looking for volunteers, and he just kept being like, yeah, I'll go out. You can do that to my body as much as you can. And so when they were researching this on the decelerator sled, it was his last ride, and Stop demonstrated that human can withstand at least 46.2 Gs in the forward position with adequate harnessing. This is the highest known acceleration voluntarily encountered by a human, set on December 10th, 1954. Stop reached a speed of 632 miles per hour, which broke the land speed record, made him the fastest man on Earth, and he believed that the tolerance of humans to acceleration had not been reached in tests. He thought it was much greater than he thought possible. He said, I felt a sensation in the eyes, somewhat like the extraction of a molar without anesthetic, but his survival without any permanent injuries supported the development of further safety technologies, including the ejection seat. So 42 point Gs is insane. Usually, like, if you watch Top Gun, they black out around 9 or 10 Gs. And he did 4 times as much as that. And then he did these wind blast experiments to see if a person could survive if they ejected from an airplane up in the sky. And he was flying 570 miles an hour, and they took the canopy off the plane. So imagine like you're on a motorcycle, right? Driving down the highway going 90 miles an hour, probably getting a lot of wind in your hair, probably feeling that a little bit. And he was going 500 miles per hour, 570 miles per hour in a plane up in the sky with no canopy on, just like eating 570 mile an hour winds to the face the entire time. This dude rocked.
What a fucking legend.
This dude was awesome. And the crazy thing about this guy is he did so many tests, and we know most of what we understand about how crashes affect the human body from his volunteer test that he did on himself and survived. We determined throughout these tests that the safest way to travel on a plane is actually facing backwards on the plane. You know how on a train you can sit backwards sometimes? On a plane, it's much, much safer in the event of even a minor crash in the plane or a taxiing crash on the plane if everybody on there is facing backwards, not forwards. But airlines don't do that. They don't incorporate that because some passengers might be like, oh, I might get motion sickness if I look backwards. But from a safety standard, it's like 4 times safer. Some people say 7 times safer to sit with the backrest facing, I guess you'd be facing the back of the plane.
Is that saying in the event of a crash that's safer?
In the event of a crash or any sort of incident where you might be on the ground taxiing 50 miles per hour, 40 miles per hour, and you have some sort of incident on the runway. In the event of landing,
I guess it does make
a bad
sense.
landing, so there. Granted, if you have a plane crash, usually you're all dead anyways.
Right.
But if you have a very bad landing, sometimes there are landings where like a couple people on board die. It's very rare, but it does happen. And if everybody's facing backwards, your chances of getting severely hurt are way less because if you're facing forwards, as you decelerate, you've got like a lap band across you, and then your body is being exerted force on by the lap band. Whereas if you're facing backwards, your body is just being absorbed by the seat.
The back of your seat is now your seatbelt.
Yes, exactly.
Which is obviously much better.
It's much safer.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I do think there is, though, the motion sickness element. I think
probably
the human body isn't really supposed to travel backwards. It's like even when you're riding backwards in a car, you feel the lurch of your stomach forward.
That would suck taking off, I guess. Sitting backwards.
Yeah, that might be. You'd like lean forward a little bit, but the landing would be way smoother.
Right.
I'm skeptical about this. The human body isn't supposed to go back.
Yeah, I think that's nonsense.
No, not that it's nonsense, but like the feeling of falling, when you're falling backwards is just naturally like a triggering sensation. Like, and when you are like falling asleep in your dreams, when you're going to bed, how it's like PTSD from when you were monkeys sleeping in the trees. And if you fell out of a tree, you had to wake up.
We were never monkeys.
You don't believe in evolution?
We were never monkeys. There are monkeys. We were not monkeys.
Well, monkey, like, you get what I'm saying. Sleeping in trees.
Mm-hmm.
Monkey-like common ancestors.
Monkey-like common. Yeah, I got you.
He also invented something called Stapp's Law. So this dude just collected sayings. That was his like favorite thing. Kind of like a football coach. I bet PJ Fleck has just like thousands of books of sayings. Jim Harbaugh is the same way, where you just like learn quotes from people and then you try to apply those to your life. This guy was an avid collector of adages, he called them. And the phrase, anything that can go wrong will go wrong, Murphy's Law, we're familiar with that one, right?
Yeah.
Nobody really talked about that, but he found that, and then he made it very popular, bringing it up in the military, brought it up all the time. And so he's credited with reviving the idea of Murphy's Law across America. And he also was credited with creating Stapp's Law, which is the universal aptitude for ineptitude makes any human accomplishment an incredible miracle. I love that.
Break that one down for me because I don't really understand that one.
It's saying that human beings are so inept at everything, and we tolerate ineptness all the time, that anything that ever gets accomplished is a miracle because we're so dumb. Just take a W, Aaron. He's saying just take your W's.
I know. It's like a backhanded ass compliment from Buddy, though. Like it's like,
yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well,
Congratulations, you stupid piece of shit.
You literally say that all the time.
Say what?
That people are stupid.
But that's relatively, right? It's relative. Like it's stupid. Like we don't have healthcare as a priority. That's dumb, right? But like individually, like you're able to like survive in this place well. Like you're smart comparatively to like the rest of the animal kingdom. You're a very intelligent being. So it's like, I get what he's saying, kind of. It's a backhanded compliment, though. Shout out to Buddy. What's his name?
John Stapp. Shout out John Stapp, the first ever Macrodosing Man of the Week.
Boom.
Can I nominate next week's already?
No. No, you have to wait till next week. Then you get to
no,
say it.
No, yes, he can.
Next week. Yes.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, or whatever we're recording.
Well, no, you can't do that. Only next week.
Yeah. You can do a nomination for next week, but then if you're gonna say one for like the week after that, then you just have to show up on that recording and say who it is.
Wait, how are we doing this nomination process? So
You
people
just
are going to submit.
Yeah, we can submit it. We can review it. But if you have one that you feel strongly about, I encourage you to show up to the next recording and to put forth your case.
Okay.
But for now, John Stapp, Macrodosing Man of the Week. Congratulations, John.
Love that.
What a beast.
Is this going to be a competition every week where we all bring one guy?
Dude of the week.
Dude of the week.
Sorry,
okay.
Macrodosing Dude of the week.
No, I just wanted to get the segment.
Yeah, and then put a parentheses around it. Dudes can be
Whoever.
Dudes can be anyone.
Yes.
Dudes can be chicks.
And animals.
Dudes can identify how they see fit.
Dudes can be anyone. We're all dudes.
I'm protesting the animal of the week thing, man.
I'm gonna bring Vojtech, and you're gonna eat shit.
Dude, Troy Hortabis is the man.
What did I just tell you? I'm not accepting nominations. Billy, this is the concept of the segment is you have to unveil your choice for Dude of the Week on that show.
Billy doesn't care, man.
I don't give a fuck.
Billy follows his own rules, bro.
No, because
come
this
up
is
with
just going to
something,
be a dictatorship.
And by God, if you just
A
outshine him on research on some random shit, fuck that. Billy's got a better guy. You know what? Shoot your fucking load, Billy.
Billy's
Do your thing.
constantly thinking about dudes of the week.
Unload
Yeah.
your
Like,
clip.
he
I
just
Billy.
have
has
Fuck
the
so many
clip
dudes of the week.
loaded.
My man literally
the
was.
point of
Billy
this.
constantly thinking about
hey,
dudes.
what's funny?
Yeah.
Hey,
Pause.
PSC,
Yeah, I do.
while you sitting here divulging all this information about this like fantastic dude that lived this shit, Billy's not listening to a fucking word you saying, and he's googling somebody that's gonna be better than yours, bro. 1,000% is what happened.
No, this one isn't better, but it's funnier. And it's just like dudes rock.
It's just better.
How many weeks until Billy nominates Billy?
There's this dude.
If Billy would have won against Kenya, he would have nominated himself right now.
Yeah. The whole point, Billy, is to recognize John Stapp because people don't talk about
I'm
this
recognizing
guy.
him.
And now you're trying to overshine all of his accomplishments and the hell he put his body through.
A hero.
You know, one time this dude went so fast and stopped so fast that he started bleeding out of his eyes and he went blind. And then you know what he did? He was like, sign me up for next week. I want to get back on that thing.
Yeah, Billy.
That's awesome.
But
Yeah.
my guy,
No, I just want to recognize as many awesome dudes as we can.
Okay, that's the plan. We're on the same page. So we'll do that on the next episode.
where's 52 weeks, my guy?
But like, are we taking turns? Like, what's the process? That's what I was asking.
Billy, you can be in charge of the next Dude of the Week.
So we're just gonna eat. Everyone gets assigned one every week.
Sure.
Okay.
Jesus.
Hey,
He's so over this.
I don't think it was that deep, Billy, but you made it
It's
that
not.
deep, man.
Yeah, Billy, you're in charge of the next Dude of the Week.
No, you're in charge for the dude of the week for the rest of the year.
Do you regret what you've created?
No, not yet.
Do you ever think God doesn't come back because he too is afraid of what man has created?
That's deep. That's deep, Mad Dog.
It's legit.
Holy shit.
Have you not heard that?
No.
That's always a quote tweet on like when there's a new bottle of flavored ketchup or something. And it's like, do you think God stays in heaven because he lives in fear of what he's created?
Gotcha. I'm a fan of the every day we stray farther and farther from God's light.
Right.
Yeah.
I like
No,
that one.
basically the same thing.
Yeah. I got a question for you guys. I was just thinking about this on my drive into work, and I realized I had no idea what the answer would be. So I'm curious to see what you guys know. I did not look this up. Do you think that is it possible for a human being, like in our physical condition that we're in right now, so I would say in order of physical fitness, I'd put Billy 1, Arian 2, and then the rest doesn't really matter after that. Billy played in a football game more recently than Arian, is what I'm saying.
Whoa. Run that back, bro.
Yeah, that was kind of out of pocket, man.
Is it possible for a human being to run to space in terms of distance? I'm not talking about like once you get up high enough, there's not enough oxygen.
No. I'm talking about run that Billy 1, Arian 2 thing back.
I was just saying Billy played in a football game like last week. He was
Heard
in
that
football-
part. I'm talking
football
about
shit.
run what you said back. I literally didn't hear it.
Oh, I was just saying that Billy's probably the most physically fit on this podcast.
Okay. I thought that's what you said. I just wasn't sure.
Arian, I have nothing to
that
do with
eggnog
this.
is noggin today. Ain't
I
it?
have nothing to do with this,
Hey,
Arian. Please.
That nog is noggin. Go ahead.
I
Pierce.
think I have an answer though.
Could you run to space? What's the distance
I don't
from
think so.
the surface of the Earth, like at sea level or around sea level? What's the distance to outer space?
62 miles.
So
62
yeah.
miles?
It's
Pull
easy.
that
says
shit up fast. I
The,
didn't get to
the edge
Google.
of space, or the point where we consider spacecraft and astronauts to have entered space, known as the von Karman line, is only 62 miles above sea level.
Could do
It-
that in a
wait,
day.
wait. It might be possible to run to the moon and just. I know
No.
that sounds crazy.
No.
You know, that sounds
Yeah,
crazy.
because it is.
Do you know
And
how
it's-
far away the moon is?
Okay, but do you know how far this guy who's running through Africa has run already?
Not even
I
close.
don't care. I don't care how
Okay,
far
I
this
just
guy
need
that
to
you
check.
know.
I
It's
just need to check how far the moon is.
238,900 miles
Okay.
from Earth to the moon.
Okay.
Billy's
too
guy's
far.
probably running 150.
Okay, let me readjust. How I think you could run to a satellite.
No.
You just didn't say that, though, Billy.
No,
That's
I'm just
not
trying
what
to
you
think.
said.
Look, space is very hard to judge, but this
Fucking
guy.
Mr. Pivot over here.
No, but it's Mr.
excuses,
I know
no
that sounds
excuses.
crazy. Like I didn't know how
Okay,
far the moon was,
Billy.
but this guy has literally ran from South Africa and he's now in Nigeria.
Is this
So
your dude
that
of
would
the
get
week?
you about a
Is this-
millionth of 1% of the way there.
Is this
So-
your dude of the week?
I'm just saying 62 miles is not that far. And
You
it's just
didn't
like,
say 62. You said the moon.
Dude, you know what?
So,
Can't you guys just be a little fucking open-minded while we're fucking brainstorming? It's
Billy.
62 miles to space, which is much shorter than you think space is.
Correct.
Billy, you know
That's-
what gaslighting
that's-
is? Billy,
that's-
you know what gaslighting is?
I'm not gaslighting
Yeah, this is
anyone.
our
I
fault.
just-
This is our fault.
All I want to do right now is bring up this guy who's the hardest geezer who's been running through Africa, and he's literally has currently ran from South Africa to Nigeria, which I'm about to find the exact metric it is. But
Billy.
I think that gets pretty far into space if space is only 62 miles.
So from
Yeah.
Earth to the International Space Station, if you want to say
Yes.
satellite, is
Yes.
254 miles.
Yeah, so he's
So that might
already
work.
ran that.
Okay, but you said the moon.
I know, but I didn't realize how far the moon was.
Hold on.
I'm sorry.
I mean,
Okay,
to be
and then-
fair, it's
like-
not just a stat that's sitting in anybody's head, Billy.
I
I'm
know.
with you,
I
buddy.
know.
Yeah.
It's just like once we're getting to these big numbers, like it's so like
It's crazy
you
out
can't
there.
Yeah.
you can't conceptualize it.
But isn't it nuts to think that to space, it's like closer than Chicago to Milwaukee?
Yeah.
That's wild.
That is crazy.
So you could run to space theoretically if you were in good enough shape.
Yeah. Also, Billy, from
Also,
South
the
Africa to
gravity was in your favor.
Nigeria is 4,072 miles.
4,072 miles. Yeah, so like he's ran 4,000 miles, which like is up there with that's so fucking big I can't even conceptualize it. Which is pretty close to moon so big you can't really conceptualize it.
Yep.
No, it's
Spins
not.
on Billy, baby. Good
How
to
long-
see you. Haven't
How
seen
many
you in a while.
miles did Forrest Gump log on his journey when he went back and forth across the United States?
He did
He-
twice.
He did 15,248 miles.
Forrest Gump did?
Yeah. It's an estimated number.
You know
Okay.
what? I'm loving this new fact checking without asking Maddie. She's been on it like the last 3 or 4 questions. I don't know if y'all know.
Yeah,
This
she's
is
been
fast
killing
as
it.
shit. Like I like this, Maddie. Let's keep this going.
Okay.
Yeah, so Forrest Gump, he's way better than Billy's guy.
Yeah.
Killing him.
Also,
But
going back to my research, Frank has lost 130 pounds since working at Barstool.
Good for Frank.
Shout
That
out
is
Frank.
good. That is good. And you know what? Somebody need to call out DJ Khaled, fam.
Oh.
He's been gaslighting us for years about his weight loss. I'm not gonna be the one to do it, but somebody needs to be it. You know, it's about that time to see some results. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, how hard he's been working out.
He always talking about losing weight, winning, and whoop de whoop, but I ain't seen the results. And I feel like I'm being gaslit.
He should just get on Ozempic. I feel like rich people are on Ozempic now.
What's
I'm
Ozempic?
gonna
it's
make,
hard to get.
I'm gonna make a prediction about Ozempic.
Yeah.
What's Ozempic? Somebody
It's-
explain
Ozempic
to
is
me.
a weight loss
shot.
drug.
So you like take a shot and then it suppresses your appetite. You lose weight. A lot of rich people are on it. Makes the pounds fall off. These things never end well.
Yeah.
No, it's
I can't imagine like what's gonna
Is
happen.
it
Well,
is
the
it
whole-
FDA approved?
It is.
Yes, it's technically so Ozempic, and the name of the drug is like a semaglutide. So it's like there's different versions and like drugs that are similar. The whole thing is that it's actually meant for people that are like diabetic or have like high A1C levels. Like there are people who should be having Ozempic. The people who you see that take it though are like influencers that want to just like lose a couple pounds.
Right.
And that's when it gets bad, because like it's like if you had, it's like PFT if you were taking a high blood pressure medication but you didn't have high blood pressure. It's
Right.
like you are not the clientele for which this medication is of use for.
It's like if you're diabetic and you're taking Ozempic, it's because you're trying to mitigate a very risky scenario that your body is in, an
Right.
unhealthy scenario that your body's in. But if you're just overweight and you want to shed some pounds, then just taking Ozempic because you want to shed some pounds, the risks of using the drug, you're not mitigating as much of a thing as you are if you're in like a life-threatening condition like being severely diabetic.
Right. But a lot of celebrities have access to Ozempic, Arian, because they know the right doctors.
Really, no, anyone who's in a certain BMI percentile can get it because of COVID, that's put them at bigger risk. Because if you look at the greatest comorbidity is obesity with COVID, that was something we can all agree on, right?
Yep.
So that caused the
age.
Age and obesity, and that caused the Ozempic prescription window to be higher than before, because they're like the risks of Ozempic are way lower than someone like this catching COVID. That's why it's popped up all of a sudden after COVID and wasn't as popular before.
Yeah, but any sort of like quick fix for weight loss, it ends up not working out well. You remember those chips that they had, the Olestra chips? This is probably before you guys' time.
I think we talked about this one time.
Did we?
That's the only I remember hearing about it, but I don't know what it is, which makes me think we talked about it here.
So it was in chips. They put it in all sorts of snacks, and they were called like Olean. I think that was the brand name of them. And it was in like Ruffles, Doritos. They had 0 fat or like 1% fat, way fewer calories. And the only side effect was they made you shit yourself uncontrollably. So you could eat all the chips you wanted.
Man said the only side effect.
But you would just shit yourself all the time. And they had warnings on the bags saying like, this product may cause loose stool, uncontrollable diarrhea, et cetera, et cetera. People still bought the chips and ate them. And they finally had to take them off the market because too many people were just shitting themselves all the time, which I kind of wish they would bring those back because I could think of a few fun pranks to pull with those. But yeah, anytime there's like a miracle cure or something that's too good to be true, you end up paying for it on the back end, literally in this case.
Yeah, like a lot of people when they get off of Ozempic, they have a like bounce back in terms of weight that they gain, just because like
That binge eating type shit.
yeah. Well,
They
it's like
get-
yeah, the whole thing is it like suppresses your appetite. So then when you have a normal appetite, you have to like then
Yeah.
readjust. You know.
Yeah, you can't microwave success.
The craziest thing is that it made a lot of people have like people with addiction issues outside of eating. It stopped them as well. So a lot of gambling addicts were given Ozempic and they stopped gambling. It's in like
that's crazy.
alcoholics and people who had like addictive personalities. It stopped a lot of their triggers, and it also caused stomach paralysis. Do you remember when I was talking to Big Cat about that, PFT?
Stomach paralysis?
No, like if about it stops like urges, and
So he
people
would
are trying
stop
to figure
gambling.
out why. It's because he was like, "Should I go on Ozempic?" And I was like, "Well, you might gamble less."
Damn.
Might be good. All right. Well, we got anything else we want to get into before we dive into the Phoenix Lights? Tennessee Minute? What's the word in Tennessee?
Nothing's happened.
Trump.
Nothing in Tennessee?
Well, it's National Signing Day.
Oh yeah, National Signing Day, big day for fax machines.
I've got some. I've got the all name team in front of me that I compile each year. Y'all want to hear some of the best names this year?
Yes, let's hear the best names.
These are high school recruits.
Yeah, kids that are signing today. So Georgia got a receiver named Nitro Tuggle.
Wow.
You just know that kid's gonna be a monster.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What position?
Receiver.
Oh my God.
Is he related to Jesse Tuggle?
I don't know, but that's possible because he played for the Falcons, obviously.
It's an American Gladiator name.
Hey, where's he from?
He's from Indiana, so probably not.
Yeah, no, maybe.
This kid's from Indiana. I don't know where Jesse Tuggle's from. Cal has a defensive lineman named Legend Journey.
Oh wow.
So my personal favorites between two. One is SMU offensive lineman King Large.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's awesome.
Oh,
There was a when I was in Nashville, I had a homeboy who went to school with a dude named King Dunlap. That was
Yeah.
King
Yeah, so there's
Dunlap. I think
actually-
he played in the league. Actually,
he did. Yeah, King Dunlap. That's a great name.
There's actually King Large and King Joseph Edwards. So,
It sounds biblical.
and then my other favorite is Oklahoma State DB Willie Nelson.
That's great.
I mean, that's
Is he black?
yeah.
Wow.
He
I wonder
just
if
said he's a
knows.
DB.
I wonder if he knows because Willie Nelson's a fucking legend. Bro.
He for sure
is.
knows.
Yeah, Willie Nelson, defensive back. You say Oklahoma or Oklahoma State?
Oklahoma State. He's playing for the Cowboys.
Oh my God.
I know that kid's going to be swimming in NIL money
He's probably just going to get like a weed sponsorship from Willie.
if that's allowed. I'm sure.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And then there's Montana signed a guy who we think is probably Native American. Tommy Running Rabbit.
Great name.
Come on, bro.
How'd you spell his last name?
Running Rabbit.
Oh, rabbit. I thought it was running rabid, like rabies.
Rabbit.
Yeah, I would assume that he's probably Native American. That's still a great name for running back.
Awesome.
That's
awesome. Wild. What? I was about to say.
The only problem would be you can't be slow. So you can't be like a slow running back. You have to.
He looks pretty fast.
You have to be one of the fastest kids on the field if your last name is Running Rabbit.
Montana Elite FCS program, so I'm sure he's a good ball player.
Yeah.
They're playing. Are they
Where's
in the
he
national
from?
championship game? I think.
Is Montana?
I believe so. I think it's Montana and South Dakota State. He's from
Where's-
Montana.
You're from Montana.
Where in Montana?
It could be like a drive over there.
Browning, Montana.
Yeah, it's always like one of the Dakotas, and then they play against somebody else.
It's Montana, Montana State, North Dakota State, South Dakota State, and those are the four main ones.
Sam Houston is.
They're FBS now.
Oh, did they? Sam Houston moved up.
Yep, this year.
JMU was always in
JMU
that
was
conversation.
good,
They
yeah.
moved up. But yeah, it's usually dominated by the Dakotas. North Dakota State, I feel like their fans every year, their vacation that they take is to Frisco, Texas.
They actually this year, they were playing. I want to say it was South Dakota State, and they or it was South Dakota, I think. Well, anyway, one of those. And they found like the code for that school's boosters to buy tickets, and they all flooded it and bought all the tickets. And the school like shut it down. They're like, no, we're not honoring this.
That's bullshit.
And they gave the tickets back to the. I think that's bullshit. And the code was like 2023 playoffs.
Come on.
If you want your tickets to be secure, you need a good code.
Better code than that, yeah.
But yeah, the title game is South Dakota State and Montana.
Okay. I have we discussed the Dakotas on this podcast? Like why do we need two Dakotas?
I think so.
I think the real reason why we need two Dakotas is to give them a rivalry.
I was gonna say they're not going for a combo. Well, also to have 50.
Yeah, 50. You need
I mean,
50 stars. Yeah.
Yeah. If we had 49 states right now, I'd be like, let's split two up
It's probably the Dakotas.
or split one up.
Give them
I
an
may-
enemy.
I may be wrong on this, but wasn't this for the North to get two more states that didn't have slavery?
I don't think that the Dakotas were involved in the Civil War. I think they came
Oh, it was
quite a bit
after.
later.
It was after.
quite a bit
You're
later.
right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Fun fact about the Dakotas and how they were admitted to the United States. I think this was the Dakotas. Maybe Mad Dog, you can do a rapid fact check on this. When they were signed into admission, the president at the time shuffled the papers around right after he signed them and then put them on the desk so that nobody could ever tell which state became a state first.
Sick.
That is true. That is
Yeah.
true.
They didn't want to give him bragging rights over the other one because they knew there would be a rivalry formed right there.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, talk to you guys about Straight Talk. A new Straight Talk wireless offering is now available where you can get a Walmart Plus membership included on select Straight Talk wireless plans for free. Only Straight Talk Wireless gives you unlimited data, talk, and text, plus the new Walmart Plus membership included on select plans, free of charge, nothing. It's all included. Some of the perks of Walmart Plus through select Straight Talk Wireless plans: you get free delivery from Walmart stores, free shipping, no order minimum. You also get Paramount Plus, which is great this time of year. If you want to watch all the shows on there, Champions League, knockout rounds coming up, that's on Paramount Plus. You get member prices on gas, all that stuff, and that's all included with your Straight Talk Wireless plan. Straight Talk Wireless is available at Walmart and walmart.com.
And I might pour myself another eggnog in just a minute. This
Wait.
Yep.
There is something else we have to talk about.
Rado.
Colorado subversing democracy.
So it was the Supreme Court of Colorado, right?
Subverting. is the word I'm
So
looking for.
the Supreme Court of Colorado ruled that President Trump could not be on the primary ballot because he instigated and encouraged an insurrection against the free and fair election of 2020. Right? Did I get that right?
Right, the
Base.
supposed attack on democracy. So we're gonna get rid of democracy.
Man said of supposed. Just
Well, okay. Regardless, let's say January 6th is the worst thing that's ever happened, worse than 9/11, right? Which is what some on the left claim.
nobody claims it.
Oh, for sure, I'll send it to you.
That's a straw man.
Nobody.
That's
claims
true.
Okay,
100%
It.
true.
Okay. No. Let them stand on that. Stand on that. Show me where somebody said it was worse than that.
Okay.
Show me.
Okay.
Show me.
Give me a minute.
Are you going to do the Bart Hubbard from the New
Nah,
York?
show them, and then we're gonna do the Jeopardy minute theme music while we waiting on this claim.
It was a 4-3
while we're
decision
waiting-
on Tuesday. Yep.
I think the best cheat code to eggnog is adding some Irish cream.
Okay.
You're gonna be
I think that really
farting up a
changes it.
storm over there.
You
Wait,
go.
Yo, this really set it off for me, bro, because I got all the ingredients right here. So I got my Japanese whiskey. I did a lot. I brought the nutmeg while I'm grinding it, grinding the nutmeg, but also cinnamon. So nutmeg and cinnamon, cinnamon, fuck. The nog is noggin, baby. Cinnamon. This shit is fantastic. This is a well put together drink I'm drinking.
It does look tasty. The
Yeah,
eggnog is nice. It sets it off.
Sets
I don't
it
know
off, man.
what it is, but the Irish cream is the perfect separator of the whiskey and the eggnog to make it mold better.
Mold?
just-
So
It's like the glue that holds the eggnog and whiskey together.
Okay.
So obviously there was the Kamala Harris speech where she said certain dates echo throughout history, including dates that instantly remind all of us who lived through them where they were and what they were doing when our democracy came under assault. December 7th, 1941, September 11th, 2001, and January 6th, 2021. Obviously that's not saying directly it's worse. The sergeant of the United States Capitol Police said, many of the Islamic terrorists who attacked the World Trade Center in the United States in 1993 and 2001 are still serving prison time more than 20 years later. In my view, January 6th was worse. That day was a domestic terrorist attack perpetrated by Americans who betrayed the ideals we stand for, and the punishment should reflect that.
Okay. Who was that said that one?
The sergeant of the United States Capitol Police.
Okay. So
Those are just the first two I found. There's
I wouldn't
dozens,
I wouldn't-
thinks
I wouldn't-
that, bro.
I would call
Nobody
the
thinks
sergeant
that
of the
shit.
National Capitol Police the left. That's not the left.
okay.
That's a law enforcement.
Those were the
Kamala
first two.
Harris.
There are plenty of people who have said that, and you know that.
No,
know
but
that.
I really honestly believes that.
I
Nobody-
don't.
So, no, but then
I
you
So
don't-
you
they
can't say
it.
show me, then you get shown and say nobody believes
I
that.
don't think that's the majority opinion of. The
I
left
honestly
that
don't
believe
think that, man. But I
don't think that either, but plenty of people have said it.
I think in context, he's talking about because it was in house, and that's what I think. I don't think he thinks the act was worse. It's demonstrably not worse. By the sheer numbers, what, one person died, maybe two.
Yeah.
There's
So
also no
It's
guns.
like, come on, fam.
So the there were a bunch of firearms that were confiscated, but it's
That-
not like it was a shootout.
There-
Okay, but all that was
I
to
don't
say.
think that's a fact.
It's just not a serious. It's not a serious claim to say that people.
I
believe
agree.
It's worse. All right. No, I'm saying that to say that people believe that it's not a serious.
Some
claim.
some people believe that.
Billy, there were
but regardless,
it's not a- it's not-
that
it's not
wasn't even my point. That regardless,
Billy, there were also bombs that were discovered. Remember that?
Was that like
Pipe bombs?
substantiated?
Yes, it was.
Do we know who planted them?
No, we've been looking for the person.
oh,
as far as,
Brooklyn Dad said it was worse too.
Oh, okay. Well, Brooklyn Dad. I love
That guy, a lot of followers.
Brooklyn Dad is the worst. We can
Agreed.
agree on that.
Who is Brooklyn Dad?
He's
The
just
the
he's
worst account in the history of
Wait,
social
do you guys
media.
like know who this person is?
No, he's just like a Twitter account who is a Democratic operative, and he just exists to get retweets.
Oh.
He's like he's like the Charlie Kirk of the left.
Ugh.
But I was saying all that to say, let's say January 6th is the worst thing that's ever happened. What you have now done in Colorado is you've done something equally as, if not more so, what's the word I'm looking for? Destructive to the country. And you have set like one of the most dangerous precedents in the history of American jurisprudence.
State your case.
That you can just disqualify political candidates with willy-nilly if you feel like it.
No, it's in the Constitution that says that if you take part in an insurrection, then you're not allowed to run for office.
Right. Trump did not take part.
Or encourage. They said that the Supreme Court of Colorado said he actively encouraged the insurrection.
You know this is being used to get rid of a political candidate they don't like, and you know that this is going to be used by the right later.
So that obviously
this
anytime you set a precedent like that, you have to be prepared for it to come back on you. I don't think that they're trying to get rid of a candidate they don't like. I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to ban a candidate from running who's proven to be somebody that will try to overthrow the results of an election.
Let's say that this is justified. Like this, they're totally right, which they're not, and it's going to get overturned.
Okay, can I just interrupt?
It's going to get
real quick?
overturned because of the Supreme Court nominations that Trump put on the Supreme Court.
Who knows if it's going to be
Not
overturned?
because they're not correct.
Who knows
They're
what's going to
absolutely
happen?
They
I'm just
are
saying,
correct. It's just not that crucial. Like
Big T, in theory, if Joe Biden loses an election and he leads all the Brooklyn dads on the United States Capitol, they swarm it, they break in, they try to stop the votes from happening on the floor as they're happening, and then he refuses to accept the results. All of his lawyers, all of his aides get prosecuted. They flip on him. They're like, yeah, this guy was not taking no for an answer from us when all the data people were saying, sir, you lost the election. In theory, Joe Biden would then be starting an insurrection. He would be trying to overthrow the results of an election, and he would then be also barred from running for office.
Okay, so let's take you at your word. Let's say
If you believe all that happened, if he actually did all this stuff, then via the 14th Amendment, he would be disqualified from running.
yeah, the most okay, let's say Trump's the worst, everything he did bad, they have legal justification to do this. Do you think it's the right thing to do?
It's in the Constitution that says if you try to,
Do you like setting that precedent?
it's this the precedent.
what precedent are you saying? Are you saying that you can actively deny the results of a and lead a campaign to actively deny the results of a free election? Is that because to me, if you don't say anything, you're participating in setting the precedent that Trump is trying to set. Does that make sense? Because he didn't say that the election that he won against Hillary was rigged, right?
She
He
did.
won that one. He
Which
said it was
people
rigged.
are quick to forget.
Okay, so to me, but he does all this with no evidence. Judges that he appointed have thrown out his accusation. He appointed these judges, and there's just no evidence. My Pillow guy is ruining his entire business, spending millions of dollars trying to prove this point with no evidence.
Yeah, I think it's nonsense, but he also, the people that say he refused to accept the results of the he left the White House when he was supposed to leave. He what did he kept saying.
There's no way you don't see this.
he kept saying, "Yeah, I won. I won." One, I don't even know if he really believes that. Two, nobody takes it seriously anyway. It's not
Wait,
a
what?
there. Yes, there are some people who
No, bro.
legitimately believe that.
No, bro, you
Most
can't say that. You can't
the
say that with a serious face. Not only are there some people, millions of Americans believe this. Millions of Americans believe this. A majority of the, I want to say majority, a fair amount of congressional and Senate, maybe that's the same thing. People in Congress and people in Senate have both echoed the same sentiment on the Republican side. So to say that it's just some like outlandish claim, it's not an honest take.
No,
It's
it is
that's what was setting the precedent. He set that precedent.
it is a crazy precedent to set that there could be a person that's disqualified from being on the ballot. It's the first time, to my knowledge, that it's happened, at least with like a major candidate, right? So you do have to think anytime you're doing something like this, if you're using this law, then in the future there's already, built-in justification for your political opponents to use this law, and usually they'll come back and use this law harder than you used it in the first place, right? Is that fair to say?
oh
It's
yeah,
like what the Republicans are doing now, right? They're trying to impeach Joe Biden.
Right, because Trump got impeached. Was it twice?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're trying. Yeah, so it's like turnabout's fair play. That's the idea.
My
But-
question to Big T is this, right? So like I'm not like super big on it. Like I'm not like a fan of it. I don't care. But my thing is like, okay, if you're let's say you're neutral, right? You right down the middle. Which one do you think is worse? Saying, okay, calling him out and saying this was wrong and you probably shouldn't run again because you'll incite a lot of division, or saying, do your thing and and continue to stoke the fear of election tampering with zero evidence. Which one do you think is more
well, the first
hurtful?
one that you said isn't what's happening. They're not saying, "Hey, we don't want you to run." They're saying you are not allowed to vote for this guy. If you want to vote for him,
but
you
that's
can't.
going to get overturned. That was just like a base thing to do. It's like they drew a line in the sand, but it's not gonna stand.
But that's what we're talking about, though.
No, that's what I'm telling you. Like state by state can do whatever they want.
He's
But,
not
like, it's
he's
gonna
not
stand.
my choice for the Republican nomination. If people want to vote for him, or if people want to vote for Joe Biden or whoever, Gavin Newsom, who would be the worst president in the history of the country, I think
but
you
it's
should
not-
be allowed to vote for those people.
But that's not my question.
So what is your question?
My question is, which one do you think is worse? Because
I think what Colorado did is worse.
Got you. Okay. I mean, I vehemently disagree, but I mean, I feel you, I guess.
So would you be able to write him in Colorado, or it's just he does not appear on the ballot?
I don't
I
think
don't know.
that's gonna pass. Doesn't it have to go through the Colorado Supreme Court?
I think this was.
This was the state
I think it was
Supreme
a
Court.
district. Wasn't it a district court?
No, I believe it was the Colorado
was
Supreme Court,
the
because
Supreme
a district court is federal. That wouldn't be the state of Colorado.
It was the Supreme Court, and then Trump is going to appeal it to the United States Supreme Court.
And then it won't pass.
Yeah, I tend to agree with Arian. I don't think that this is going to stand up.
I also think it's a horrible political move.
Oh, he's made so much money fundraising off. Like, think about all.
He might win Colorado now.
Think about every single music group that has been
Yeah, he
banned
won't,
by like
but-
Congress, where they held hearings like on the floor. Twisted Sister should be banned from being in record stores across the United States. What does it do? Make their records go way up. Bad Brains banned in D.C. They turned that into like the name of their album. This being banned is actually very good for business.
Every time.
Yeah, I think it was a bad political move.
The thing is,
But what's fascinating to me is that all these mainstream media networks have learned zero from the last election, right? If you don't want Trump to get elected, stop fucking talking about him, because he's already, kind of sullied himself off of Twitter, so he's not gonna be on Twitter. He's on True Social, so the only clicks and shit you're gonna give him is the shit that you want him to have, and they continue to give this man press. It is fascinating to me, and
Yeah.
I honestly think he has a really good chance of winning again, especially if we run this skeleton in the Democratic Party.
I
I mean,
just
he's favored right now.
I know
Yep.
this is totally off topic, right?
Billy, did you find
But
those guns?
no, I have to admit there were guns found in cars parked
And also, I think like 3 or 4 people brought them into the Capitol. But yeah, and then the Oath
on
Keepers.
camera, but yeah,
Then the Oath Keepers had a bunch that were in a hotel room, and then that one dude had 11 bombs in his truck, and guns.
yeah, I have that up. Fact
Okay.
check Tucker Carlson's fact about no guns being found at the Capitol. If I knew it was a Tucker Carlson fact, I probably wouldn't have cited it. I apologize. But
I thought it was just a Billy fact. So
no, I thought I had a source. But I'm just saying there's so much stuff that's made up about all of these events that just never gets addressed. And I just started thinking about that because I was like, no guns in the thing, and there's like, oh shit, there's a bunch. There's so much misinformation. How do we stop that?
yeah, we've kind of flooded the market with misinformation, so it's impossible to tell what's real and what's not.
Like the Steele dossier with the pissing on the bed with the Russians.
I still think that might have happened, just because I want it to have happened.
Well, it didn't.
But I want it to for the
You
war.
wanted, but why would you have wanted
Because it's funny.
like
It didn't.
Obama?
There's zero proof to it, but you have to admit, Billy, it's a very funny story.
Well, I want Obama to be, exchanging crack for, sex favors.
Also,
But-
also very funny.
Very funny, very funny. But it's just like, what? How can we continue with all this crazy shit? That's what we should really be talking. Half when it comes to January 6th, half the people think that it was just a peaceful protest that got hijacked by, wrongdoers. Half the people think that, it was an all out assault and insurrection that was directly led by Trump. So there's people who think Trump was in the Capitol, leading them. But it's
Nobody
You know,
thinks that.
I would honestly respect that more if he had.
Y'all are funny. Nobody thinks that either, man.
I'm just saying, I'm naming another crazy thing that people think. But it's just we're arguing over things, and most of the stuff we're arguing about is just differing rumors that people think are fact. And it's just kind of maybe this is the nog talking, but what the fuck?
The
I haven't been speaking that much in this thing because I've just been looking up stuff, seeing stuff that what you're both saying, and I'm just dude, what the fuck?
the campaign manager, or one of the campaign advisors for Hillary Clinton, I forget the guy's name. Fuck, what was that guy's name? He had the solution to this very problem that Billy's talking about, that he came up with after the election. Do you remember that?
Podesta? Is that what you're talking about?
It was not Podesta. It was another guy. His solution was to create a new website called Verrit. Do you remember Verrit?
I vaguely remember this concept, but I don't remember the details of
And
it.
you would post a story or a fact, and it had to be verified by the website Verrit, and every post that you would make would have a Verrit code on it, so that you knew it was a legitimate fact and not fake news. And Verrit would be run by this guy who would just look at the stories and be like, true, here's a code. And then you'd be able to tweet out a picture, an image that had a 6-digit Verrit code on it, so you knew it had been verified. That was one of the Clinton campaign's best ideas throughout that entire project. Looking at the markets right now, Trump is at 40 cents on Predicted, 40 cents, Joe Biden 39 cents. So in the stock market of politics, he is favored by 1 cent, essentially a dead heat. Nikki Haley 10 cents, Gavin Newsom 8 cents, Riverboat Ron DeSantis 5 cents. Vivek,
Hold on, we have a new
4
name. I didn't know.
cents.
When did Riverboat Ron become?
I just gave that to him right now.
Why is it Riverboat Ron?
Is he gambling?
I don't
Yeah,
hate
he
it.
isn't
I love-
Riverboat Ron. Riverboat Ron would mean he has a personality trait.
Ron Rivera is Riverboat Ron.
I
and
know.
He does not. He is in fact not a riverboat gambler.
Well, neither
It's
is DeSantis.
That's what I'm getting at. Is Ron Rivera earned that nickname for really nothing. He had Cam Newton on his team. So
It
he
sounds
was
cool.
I'm going to go for it on 4th and 1 every now and again because we have Cam Newton, who is the best short yardage back of all time in the NFL. and we're gonna get every fourth down. So they're like, Riverboat Ron, and then he just never does anything riverboaty.
What? Real quick, were you looking at the stock market of that? Is there like, because I'm looking at Vegas odds.
I'm
I feel
looking
like-
at Predicted. Predicted is where you can like buy or sell futures on
Okay.
who you think is gonna win.
This has Trump plus 148, Biden plus 245.
Okay, so pretty close. If you're looking at like the Heisman race,
Yeah. RFK is plus 2,800.
He's gonna fuck if
He's in fifth.
he needs to drop out. If he because he's helping the Democrats right now.
He was also on Epstein's plane.
Oh yeah, he
Just
came out and
found
spoke
that
about
out.
That. Yeah, he came out and spoke about that.
The most recent YouGov poll is 43-43. This other poll is 45-45. They're all like dead heat.
so I heard that more Epstein flight logs are going to be released on Monday. Right? There was a judge
Soon, yeah.
that said they're going to drop those on Monday. That's Christmas.
That'd be insane.
I mean that
News
on
dump
the-
of the century.
putting on the tinfoil hat. That's a huge news dump.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They
Well,
should have been.
well,
done.
he's
What the
dead,
fuck are they
so-
doing? What the fuck are they doing? They should have been did that shit.
Yeah.
well, I mean that Bill Gates clip where he's just like, well, he's dead, so does it matter? It's just
gonna
like,
be-
dude.
All right, so in the world of private jets, there is such a thing as like you can loan a company your jet, and then they'll fly somebody else on it if you're not going to be using it for like a month or so. What if you're just like a completely innocent person that gets put on this list, and then for the rest of your life, everyone's like, "Oh, this guy was flying to an island and banging 14-year-olds." That would be a tough one to explain.
I think the only one matter would be like if you go to his island, right? Like if you're going to like New Jersey to Delaware or whatever. Like you said, that shit
Yeah.
don't matter. Like I think
With
it's just
him
right.
on the plane.
Yeah, I don't think he was banging. I could be wrong. I don't think that this was just like a sex plane where you would get on the plane and take like a 3-hour flight, like Arian said, going from Delaware to New Jersey or something. It's probably like 30 minutes.
Because would he rent it out too? He rented his plane out. I'm guessing if you have a private plane, that's the type of shit you do.
Well, they
I-
lease it. They lease it out. I met a guy whose whole job was like, we lend lease other people's planes. So like they own them, but then we lease them out when they're not using them to other individuals who like don't need to own a plane. So it's like they get return on their asset when they're not using it.
Yeah, so that type of stuff does happen. But if you were
Yeah.
on his plane with him going to the island, that's going to be very tough. That's going to be
Yeah.
you're just going to be branded as, and probably deservedly so, you're going to be branded as a scumbag for the rest of your life. So we're thinking Clinton's going to be on there. We're thinking Bill Gates is going to be on there.
Yo, speaking of Clinton, bro,
Maybe
he's
Trump.
about to be out the gate, fam. Have you seen him lately?
He's not looking good.
He looked like he got one foot out the door. Like
I
about to-
still think Jimmy Carter outlasts him.
I'm okay with that actually,
Yeah.
because usually, like villains, like in our terms, like bad guys age well. They just get old as shit, and good people die young. Like I'm okay with Jimmy Carter outlasting. He's
I feel
dead, Jimmy.
sad for him at this point. Like, did you see him at Rosalind's funeral?
Yeah.
He just looked like not that I'm rooting for him to pass away, but like
Sounds like it.
it,
No, I'm joking.
I feel like him going to be with the Lord is better than the life he's living right now.
Or maybe he's trying to outlast Bill so he can slide in on Hillary.
Totally.
Imagine that.
I fell for
It's-
that Billy fake news about Hillary being thick. Man, that picture he sent, I was like, "Hey, yo, I take it all back."
Serious political misinformation.
That was the biggest fake news I ever fell for.
I
like-
would have.
I like that somebody's just doing Hillary Clinton photoshops. Like, this is, we're just going to make her ass big. It's funny because seriously, if her campaign had spent as much time just distributing anonymous photoshops where her ass was like 30% bigger and posting those around the internet, instead of doing like describe student loan debt using one emoji, or designing the Hillary with the arrow pointing forward as her official logo. If they had put all those resources into just photoshopping her ass to be nice and big, she could have won that election.
Definitely
I mean,
sexist, but I didn't hate
Yeah. Okay. Hand up. Yes.
super.
But
Like,
but also maybe grounded in reality.
yeah, I mean, two things can be true at once.
Mhm.
Because like the unfortunate reality of our society is everything sex sells. And no matter if it's a woman the male politician will never have to deal with oh, he's sexy. Is he sexy or is he not sexy? You know,
Bernie
don't
dealt
really
with
care.
that. Did you ever see that?
I've never seen it. What are you talking about?
But not in
Bernie,
a real and
everyone.
legitimate way.
No, there was like all these people who were like, I got such a crush on Bernie Sanders. I don't know what it is. Do you guys remember that?
It was like
Nope.
young. It's just
I mean,
pictures
that's
of
what-
like young Bernie and young Joe Biden.
That's what Democrats do. They're Cuomo-sexuals, then they're Bernie. They love sexualizing old men that turn out to be terrible people.
Bernie, you saying Bernie is a terrible?
No,
Come on,
no,
man. You don't
Cuomo.
believe that. No, you don't believe that.
He just had some questionable college essays.
Bernie,
Yeah.
put me on game. I'm
Yeah,
unaware.
let me. You'll wait till you see some of these.
I mean, I'm here for it.
We've all had a couple questionable college essays.
Yeah, no one go look back at our college essays.
Yeah,
Ever.
Billy's over here like Billy's never written a questionable college. You were Mr. Questionable College Essay, I bet.
Yeah, I can assume that.
No, I was my college essays were just like, I go to a liberal arts school. I'm writing a liberal arts essay, and hopefully the teacher gives me an A because
That's what I'm saying. Like Billy running for president in 20
Yeah.
years, and they go back and they pull up his old college essays, and they're like, Libby football, look at this. Oh my God. And then Billy has to stand up and be like, dude, I was just trying to get an A, and my teacher was a lib.
They
and
were
so-
trying to ban forks.
And so I had to lib it up for him.
I don't
Libby
really
football.
believe in like healthcare for people. Fuck that shit.
Wait, did they ban forks?
I think at Billy's school they
no,
banned forks as
there
a
was
form
someone
of
who
the
wrote a whole
patriarchy.
essay about how there's only forks and knives and like cutlery in Western cultures because the culture of violence when eating, and I was just like, dude, what?
Culture of violence when eating.
No, like Eastern cultures when they eat, it's like chopsticks or like a spoon, and it's they're not just cutting into meat in toxic masculinity hunting cultures.
So that was one student.
I would
Yeah,
like to. I
it
would
was
like to
one
read
student.
this paper. I would like to read this paper as well. Can you get your hands on this paper?
I
I'm
think
looking
I know.
for it.
I would like to.
No,
read
the
this
paper isn't online. It was on a poster board in my dining room, and I was just like, it was just one of those things that you just see and be to your boys like, look at this shit. This shit's crazy. This place, America's going to shit. And then it was just like,
Let's take it back to the 50s, man, where there were different
No,
colored water
no.
fountains and
This-
fucking hell yeah.
this was a non-homogenous group of bros that we were talking about this.
Oh.
Yeah.
bad.
That's a classic example of just they're getting high on their own supply. They've been on Tumblr. They've been reading everything and just like hunting for problematic shit. And they're like, I've got a banger
I think,
idea for an essay.
Honestly, I think you guys right now, don't
can't wait.
understand how crazy some of these liberal college campuses have gotten.
It's crazy that Billy, you like willingly went there.
It was kind of one of those things where like you just had to.
How crazy is it, man? I'm interested.
No, I mean like look at the stuff that's being done on college campuses right now when it comes to like recent events and
I'm listening.
like for example the Harvard, UPenn, and MIT heads of college in Congress. Not like it's gotten so
What happened?
out of control. Have you seen the video where they can't be like, is like Jewish genocide against your honor code? And they're like, only if they act upon it. And it's like, what?
So Billy, I agree with you that like that was a fucking terrible series of testimony for everybody across the board. I dove a little bit deeper into it because I was like, I wonder what they would have said if somebody had asked them, is calling for African American genocide against the honor code of your institution? Somebody did ask them about that, and their answer was the same as the Jewish one, which is saying, like, we protect all free speech as abhorrent as it possibly can be, and calling for that type of genocide when it becomes actionable, then that's an issue. And so they kind of did have the same answer. It's a bad answer, like, across the board.
But it's only being applied because the thing is, if there's anything close to like hate speech on these campuses, they are being taken care of. I've seen it.
Okay, I'm just letting you know. I think the testimony was like garbage. They were like, they were so dumb going into that, and they all had to walk back their statements the next day. You are an idiot, and you deserve like all this public scrutiny on you. But I was curious because I thought like that would be really fucked up if they gave a different answer if they were talking about a different protected group. But with a different group that was brought up, they had the same, and they had this like smirk on their face while they were doing it, like they were almost like trying to stand up to the individual that was posing the question as opposed to actually addressing the issue, which is, it made them look 10 times worse.
It's just like, but the thing is, the reason I'm saying that is like when I was there, like it's funny because I think that, for example, we went to school at a different time where all of our teachers were liberal. So everyone who is in, I think it's almost generational because I assume Arian and PFT, when you guys went to school, the majority of like people in positions of authority were conservative.
No, this has been a thing for generations and generations, going back to probably the 60s and 70s.
If you look at higher education, and you can draw your own correlation to this, but if you look at higher education, the majority lean liberal.
I'd say not just not higher education, but for example, in your high schools, middle schools, people in places of authority were conservative. Police officers, authority was basically linked with conservative. Is that fair?
I don't know if teachers.
I don't think I'd paint it with that brush. No.
No, I had like a mix of teachers where they didn't like talk about their political affiliations, but except for one guy, actually, my physics teacher in high school, Mr. Brown. He was a Jamaican guy that was the most conservative dude that you've ever met in your life. Like, he drove a car that had like dozens of bumper stickers on it. Talk about like Rush Limbaugh. He would always see me in class and be like, Eric, you hear Rush Limbaugh yesterday? I'd be like, I did, Mr.
Hell
Brown.
yeah.
And we'd have like these discussions about
fuck no,
what Rush was
you
talking
don't believe
about.
that, Big T.
Believe what?
Hell yeah, Rush Limbaugh. He was a
no.
racist.
No, I don't. I've never listened to Rush Limbaugh. I don't know. Just the teacher being like, "Did you catch Rush Limbaugh last night?" That's funny.
That's horrible.
He was a funny guy, and we'd have like these discussions about what was going on that like nobody got hurt. It was just like banter back and forth. But yeah, Billy, I would say that in terms of colleges, you don't look at like professors as
colleges,
being authority.
I'm more talking about high school and when you're developing your political views.
I had a political science teacher that we would just have like open discussion, and he never showed us like his preference for either side.
All I'm saying is that, especially in even middle school, high school today, and maybe I'm sort of like, at least where I was in the Northeast, sort of liberalism is the dominating ideology. And I think that's especially in the Northeast. So
I think in education, that is normally the case. And like, because I've heard this before, and conservatives blame it on like the, like I guess they've flooded the institutions with liberal people, but I think they do this with like atheists versus like theists, right? Like in higher education, the higher up you get in education, the more atheists you'll find, or agnostics you'll find, right? The higher up you get in education, the more liberal you'll find. Like I said, draw your own correlation. I'm not making that connection.
Right.
I'm just saying that's usually been the case.
Yeah, I would also say that like the people that are most inclined to follow a career in education typically would be a personality type to have a more liberal slant than a conservative. Whereas if you look at business and finance, somebody that would try to follow a career in that particular field more likely to be conservative.
Yeah, agreed.
all
Yeah.
all I'm trying to say that and can we agree that the critical mass of that has increased, especially in modern times, per se when I was in high school.
I don't know
No, I think.
what the
Well,
breakdown is, because Billy, this is one thing I always like try to talk to you about a little bit, and not like trying to steer you in any direction. But every conversation that we're happening right now has happened before throughout history. So like what you're
Yeah.
experiencing right now, and being like, there's so many liberals in colleges that are trying to brainwash young America. What is college even around for? That exact same conversation was happening to me when I was your age and when I was younger, and even before that.
yeah, 80s,
That
90s, 70s, like
it's the same. It's like kind of a lot of these debates are the same exact scenarios that we find ourselves in over and over and over again. But to each generation, it's
it's
something
new.
new.
It's new to
Yeah,
them. And I think also what's we're able to see people in a different way than you were before, right? Because like when you were growing up on your little in your internet echo chamber, you had your, whatever your games that you played, you had
Mm.
your maybe some Facebook, and you had this little ecosystem that you're inside. But now what you're experiencing is, oh, there's other ecosystems and there's other, and you can see a Jordan Peterson arguing with trans right activists outside of, you
Mm.
can see that shit. So now that you're starting to see it, and I think if you step back and you realize, like, aside from a few things here and there, across the board, the world is getting better, like across the board.
Uh,
Healthcare, just health in general, equality, equity, all these things are getting better. Probably not to the extent that I would like to see it, right? But I think we all are inundated with the now. And so if you kind of just take a step back, and you especially need to log off sometimes. If you just like log off and like go to the local grocery store, you're not gonna see people arguing about
right.
shit, like, you know what I'm saying? And that's the main thing. Like, I mean, there are pressing issues like Israel and Palestine. Like those are pressing issues which you will see a lot of people talking about because it's active. There's 20,000 people, Palestinians dead, right? Like those are active. Was a war going on, and so like stuff like that. But there was war going on when we grew up, right? Right.
Mhm.
Big PFT, the Iraq War was huge. Afghanistan was huge. And you'll have those sects in history, and that will pass, and then things will seem to normal out, and then something else will pop off. But I don't think you're experiencing anything different.
Honestly, that I would say probably it's from my age that because I haven't seen it before, I'm encountering it and just thinking that identity politics has pushed me farther
Right.
right from the center. And
Yeah.
that's probably 100%. I'm willing to admit it's probably because I'm young.
No, we
But
knew that from a couple
I,
years back, brave.
but it's just, yeah, honestly, one of the best parts about Africa was not being able to be on the internet so much
yeah,
and
that is
just
kind of
no
cool.
one cared. Like
I saw Marv Twist. He's online.
Marv Twist is online.
Who's
One of your
Mark Twain?
players. He was the backup quarterback. What position did he end up playing for,
Marv
Bill?
Marv's actually a cornerback.
So Marv interacted with the post that we put up yesterday regarding Dr. Billy getting some
What
love
do you say?
advice.
What do you
And
say?
he said, "Man, I think somebody was messing with you."
Dude, I don't know when they were messing with me and when they weren't.
Yeah.
Because because some like because and I'm sorry if I honestly I want to apologize if it seemed like I was like making fun, but really I wanted like there is a lack of sexual education, especially where some of these guys came from, that I was trying to express like how it was like there's so much to be grateful for that we take for granted that isn't in other places. I didn't want to. I just got off the plane that 7 a.m. and I couldn't sleep the whole time at the plane because I was so banged up, and I literally just jumped on a podcast half concussed. And I
You
hope
got a
I don't want anyone
concussion
to
over
think,
there?
dude. I'm just like I was playing without a mouthpiece, like in with a helmet from middle school. Like I don't know. I'm like definitely got cracked a couple times. It's different when you get hit without a mouthpiece. You're like jaw rattles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can. I would never play without a mouthpiece. That's insane.
Yeah,
You
I
could have
play.
fucked your teeth up, dog.
I know, dude, but I had no choice. I had to give my mouthpiece to like guys who needed it.
Look at you,
Oh, I mean,
altruistic Billy.
There was equipment shortages.
Altruistic coach, Dr. Billy.
I'm not trying to. I'm just saying. I don't
I'm
want
on
anyone
your
to think I was
side.
coming
I'm
the
saying
wrong
you're a
way.
good guy. I'm on your side.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I'm just.
Yeah.
But shout out
But-
Marv Twist. What a great name.
Facts.
Let's talk about the Phoenix Lights, guys. And this Phoenix Lights discussion is going to be brought to you by our good friends over at Sport Clips. Your hair may grow fast, but after going to Sport Clips haircuts, you're going to wish that it grew even faster. Big T is a huge fan of Sport Clips. They've got the MVP experience. You like the hot steam towel, Big T?
It's the best part. That's why I was there last week, I think it was. I won't go anywhere else because the hot steam towel, the shampoo, it's the haircut is just the pregame.
Yeah.
Like other place you go, the haircut, it's done. The haircut is just, it's pregame.
Big T
Warm up.
saying the word pregame. I like that. And they've got the massaging shampoo that he alluded to. Very relaxing. They've got sports on TV playing all day, every day. It beats watching your reflection get a haircut. You can watch TV there at Sport Clips every day's curveballs and clippers, high tops and Hail Marys, waves and wickets. At Sport Clips, you check in with the pros in men's hair and totally check out with pure, uninterrupted relaxation. So yeah, come watch an endless stream of sports on TV while getting an awesome haircut. Sport Clips, it's a game changer. Also, it's brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. They're offering a brand new product where you can get a Walmart Plus membership included on select Straight Talk Wireless plans for free. Only Straight Talk Wireless gives you unlimited data, talk, and text, plus a Walmart Plus membership included on select plans for free. Some of the perks of Walmart Plus through select Straight Talk Wireless plans are free delivery from Walmart stores, free shipping, no order minimum, Paramount Plus membership, member prices on fuel so you get gas savings. Straight Talk Wireless is available at Walmart and walmart.com. Check it out. All right, the Phoenix Lights. Let's talk about who suggested this. Was this Arian?
It was indeed.
Arian, so you want to take the lead on this one?
Nope.
Okay. What made you want to do the Phoenix Lights?
I've seen a documentary on it a while back. And I think to me, like of all alien encounter things, like sightings, this one, and then there's one more, I think it was Mexico City. I could be wrong about that, but of all the ones, I think this one was like, that's actually pretty wild. Like, I'm sure there's a plausible explanation because I don't believe we have been visited by aliens. Spoiler alert off top, but I think it's just one of the ones where, like, when you look at all of the events and all the isolated, what are they called? All the
Phenomenon?
isolated, no, all the isolated, like, there was so many people all over Arizona that saw the same thing.
Unique
And-
reports.
What'd you say?
Unique reports.
Yeah, isolated reports. We'll say that. Yeah. I think of all of the ones I've seen, this was the most believable that I had seen.
Yeah, because a shitload of people saw them.
Yes.
It wasn't just like one person. It was like there were, in some cases, it was like at a football game, a high school football game,
Yes.
where you see all these things and thousands of people see them at the same time.
Yes.
What is it about Arizona, New Mexico that makes either people think that there's like one of two things that are possible, in my opinion. A lot of people in the American Southwest think that they're seeing UFOs all the time, or aliens actually go to visit Arizona, New Mexico at a much, much higher frequency than any other place on Earth.
I grew up in Albuquerque, man. So one, there's been the lore of Roswell that kind of hovers over New Mexico. So Roswell and Area 51 and all that stuff has kind of been like, even if you go to Roswell, like right now, like, you know, there's gift shops, there's like all this stuff, like kind of the lore and the merch surrounding it. But I think other than that, there's not a lot of light pollution because Albuquerque is the biggest city in New Mexico, and it's not very, I guess, there's so much barren land. So there's a lot of vacant land. And so when you like we used to drive, like, let's say like we had like games, right? We had games from like city to city. So we used to drive to this place called Gallup, which is maybe like 45 minutes, an hour drive. In the middle of those cities, you could like damn near see the Milky Way. Like gorgeous is what first got me into space because like you could see millions of stars. It's I haven't been there in a minute, but from my memory, you could just it was just flooded. And I think with that much barren land and not a lot of light pollution, there's a lot of eyes on the sky. And so I think there's a lot of military testing that goes on there goes on there as well. Like you have Los Alamos labs, you have the Sandia labs, where I think they tested, yeah, in Los Alamos, I think they tested one of the nukes,
Mhm.
right? And there's just so much land out there that I think that the government does a lot of, you know, covert shit that people catch on to, people look at, and that could be a possibility anyway. But because my mother, my mother to this day claims she saw a UFO when she was a kid. She grew up in a place called Springer, New Mexico, which is north, and this place maybe has like 8,000 people living in there. And she grew up on a ranch, and she tells the story about how she was out driving, and like she saw like a disc like thing with colorful lights swirling, and she said it got real close to her, and she said it just like zoomed off like super fast. I always tell her she's full of shit, but to this day doesn't deny it. I think she was like a teenager when she saw it, and she's like very like, nah, I seen that shit like to this day.
Yeah, it seems like the location of the government facilities, like Area 51, a lot of test ranges out there, it will let you see some crazy shit in the sky, especially at nighttime when you can't really see the outline of the aircraft. You just see the lights from the aircraft,
Yeah.
which we'll get into in a little bit, especially with the flares. That can look really abnormal up there. But also, maybe it's a possibility they just dig the Southwest. They like the moderate temperature, go to Scottsdale, hit the clubs.
I I will say I think it has a lot to do with the topography. And I think I'm using the right word there because the
You are.
sky looks so much bigger in that part of the country. Like there was a distinct difference drive when PFT and I were driving across the country from when we went to Texas to New Mexico, and just the sky opened up.
Can I
And
just fact check that real quick?
is
Billy
Texas
was
not next to New Mexico?
no, Billy
Yes.
was passed out drunk on the drive from Texas to New Mexico. I woke
Okay,
you
well
up.
when
I
I
woke you up
woke up,
after we got into Arizona. You woke up.
I slept through New Mexico.
Pretty much. I mean, we did stop by that restaurant that Arian put us on to. And then you cracked a couple beers in the parking lot. You ate, and
I
then you fell
didn't
back
crack
asleep.
beers in the parking lot. I cracked Black Rifle coffees, and the sky looked big as hell.
Okay, but yeah,
When
I
you
mean,
say the
you're not.
sky looked big, do you just mean like it's more visible? Like,
Well, I think it's
it's
more
like
visible because
it's just
of
the one sky, man.
well, I think because of different population densities, there's less light pollution, and also I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the
Echo.
altitude, but the western sky is just huge. I don't know, like I think it's because there's nothing blocking it, like mountains, uh, like very large mountains, and ridges. Whereas in like the Northeast, even when you're outside of major urban areas, there's still like trees, forests, stuff that blocks the sky. So you're just
Hills.
seeing a lot of flat land, which leaves a lot of room for sky in your vision.
Yeah, and especially when you're driving through like the eastern part of the United States, southern part of the United States, if you're on a highway, it's a road that's like through a forest. So you get trees that are right next to you that block a lot of the stuff out. And then as you go west, there's like no trees there, no hills there, right as you look out your window. So yeah, it does look bigger.
I remember what you're saying. Okay.
And with that, you're seeing a lot of sky. You have more time to see objects flying through the sky.
Also,
That makes sense.
peyote, man,
Yeah.
be out there. No, seriously, like, on a serious note, like, so growing up in Albuquerque, it's like a big part of like the drug trade, right? Because I-40 runs through here, which goes across, and then I-25, which runs up and down. So a lot of the drug traffic goes through Albuquerque, New Mexico. So Albuquerque is like very heavy, like with drug usage. Like it's where the Breaking Bad shit was filmed. A lot of that shit is true. And I grew up like I used to smoke weed when I was like 11, 10, 11. Like I didn't know anything different. Like it was just around, everybody was doing it. We drank early. Um, and when I moved to California, I always thought everybody was proved because I was like, we've been doing this. You know what I'm saying? Like they sneaking around. Like we've been doing this. I just didn't know any. That's just the environment I grew up in because it was just very influential drug. I tried mushrooms when I was like I think 13.
Whoa.
And it was just very heavily drug influence. So that on top of the skies, on top of the no light pollution, I think a lot of different reports can be reported.
Yeah. Peyote. Yeah, peyote definitely has something to do with it.
Mm-hmm.
Should I be scared about doing peyote, or do you think it's fun?
I've never done peyote. I can't. I'm not gonna lean you one way or another, brother. But anytime you do anything kind of hallucinogen, I think you just make sure you're around somebody who has done it that has good vibes.
Yeah. Again, I was watching that Mother God documentary, and everybody in that was like super into psychedelics. And the leader of that cult, Mother God, she got into it because she took like a big ass dose of ecstasy, and it turned her into being like very spiritual because she saw what the world was like on ecstasy, and her brain processed that as they're trying to keep us from seeing the truth of the world and keep all of this good stuff that you get to see when you're high on these great hallucinogens. That's why they're making these illegal, and so we just need to take hallucinogens all the time.
Agreed.
Again, she made some very interesting points in the documentary. But on May 13th, 1997, thousands of people saw UFOs in and around the Phoenix area. It was actually a 300-mile area, so a pretty decent radius that started at about the Nevada border and then southeast all the way down to Tucson. I'm going to be out in Tucson next week. I might have to keep my eyes on the skies out there, see what I see. But yeah, that's a pretty big area for people to be seeing these all at the same time. There was a V-shaped aircraft with 5 spherical lights. So I don't know, V-shaped or like boomerang shaped. Have you ever seen like a stealth bomber, like the B-2 bomber?
Yeah.
Aaron, have you seen that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that boomerang shape, but imagine much bigger than that. Like
My problem with UFO reports is that they are always, the descriptions are always exactly what you'd think it would be,
yeah,
which doesn't make sense.
like the disc, the silver
Yeah,
disc.
it's always a saucer with a beam
Well,
or a V shape with 5 lights. All like, why are they never something that we wouldn't think of?
Yeah.
well, because they've been talking about flying saucers for centuries. Like before in popular culture, they based those depictions on stuff that has been even described in the Bible.
Can you
I think
elaborate
that
on
was
that?
in Ezekiel's wheel or something like that, right?
Yeah.
I was
Yeah.
thinking that song by Styx, "Come Sail Away."
That's the ancient alien shit. I don't know how I don't know how reliable that is, but I think they were talking about like Ezekiel's wheel
Or wait,
was
is
in the
it
sky or
Foreigner?
some shit like that. It's been a minute since I looked at that.
No, it's Styx. Okay, Styx song, "Come Sail Away."
Because yeah, and even there's depictions of flying saucers in like Renaissance paintings.
That kind of rocks.
Yeah.
But yeah, this
Are they
one particular
saucers?
one.
Quick funny thing, the Lost Phoenix tapes is not a documentary on the events that night.
Okay, what is it?
It's fiction. The Lost Phoenix tapes is not real. So if you're looking to study for the Phoenix Lights, if it's like a topic on your podcast, it is not applicable at all.
Okay, good to know. Don't look that up for more facts about this topic. But yeah, this giant flying V was up to a mile long, is how they discussed it. That's a pretty fucking big flying V in the sky. And there's a lot of video and photographic footage of the lights too. I looked them up online. You can find some videos of it. It does look like a giant UFO with all these lights on there. And this is where it gets crazy, because if you look at the timing of it, March 13th, 1997, that's almost exactly the 50th anniversary of the Roswell crash in 1947. And that was more the flying disc. That was like the standard flying saucer.
Also 4 days after Biggie died,
Is it really?
March 9th.
It was reported in the press. It was covered heavily, and people were like, "What's going on here? We need an official explanation for what happened here." They wanted answers. They wanted answers quickly because so many people saw it, and the official explanation given for it was that it was part of Operation Snowbird, which was a
That's
training
a fire
program.
name for an operation.
It is, yeah. Shout out to the U.S. military. They do usually come up with pretty, like, badass sounding names for
Desert
things.
Storm.
Desert Storm's a great one. Yeah.
Agent Orange.
Yeah.
That shit sucks, but that was a cool name.
Enduring Freedom.
Yeah. That one, it
That's
kind of
kinda
fell
mid.
off.
That's kind of mid, I think. It's kinda mid.
Bush made it fall off when he called it Operation Iraqi Freedom. That was like, wait, we just spent the last year you telling us that we're doing this because Saddam Hussein's going to bomb the world. And then we started the invasion. He's like, this mission is actually about just liberating the Iraqi people.
Dog?
Is that Billy's dog? Is that Whitey?
Yeah, someone rang the doorbell.
I've
That
been
sounds like a human, bro. What the fuck?
I've been fucking with Blake recently.
He's a
Tell
big
me
dog.
Tell me if this is dog abuse or not. Oh, you have him on your sweater?
Yeah, dude. Are you that good of a dog, Dad?
Yeah, that's cool.
That's so cute.
Holy shit.
But can you guys tell me if this is dog abuse or not? Because I in one of the rooms in my house I've got surround sound, right? And so I've been taking my phone and I've been playing like animal noises on the surround sound. And then Blake's like looking all around the room. He's like, "Where are the zebras?" He's like, "There's zebras in the house somewhere." I played like a donkey. He's like, "There's a fucking donkey in the ceiling. What's going on right now?" And he's like barking at him, and he gets like really focused. Am I being a bad dog dad for that?
The only risk with that might be upping his prey drive.
Oh, you
Just
think so?
Is something you don't want to encourage. Like the same way, like if your dog's chasing a wild animal, you don't want to encourage it because, you know, it ups that excitement in relation to like small animals. So like if you get a cat or something,
Ain't he neutered though?
He's neutered, but to Billy's point,
still got that dog in him though.
yeah. To Billy's point, he got buck wild on a rabbit last night. There was a rabbit that was out in my side yard, and Blake was out on the porch, and he saw this rabbit. I heard him barking up a storm for like 15 seconds nonstop. I walked out there, and I looked at him. There was this rabbit just staring calmly back at him from the side yard while he was on the porch, kind of like fenced in, and they were just having like a standoff, and the rabbit was just chill as hell, like, "You're not going to fuck with me. You're all bark, no bite," is what the rabbit said.
Called his bluff.
No,
Shout out to little pugs, man.
No, the
Yeah.
rabbit was like, no, the rabbit was really like, if I don't move, it won't see me. That's really what the rabbit was doing.
Is that what rabbits do?
They freeze until there's
I thought that was deers.
no, they freeze until there's, because if you move, then the chase will start, and they're just hoping that the whatever's hunting them won't give chase and will just like get bored and think that you ran away. They're trying to take advantage of their camouflage, and then they just sprint away at the first sign of movement.
So maybe Billy might be right, because I've never heard him get this wild with an animal before until after I played the ceiling zebras.
Well, it's really important to make sure that, you know, they don't get that going, because if they get that going more and more and more, then, you know, especially with little kids, children, you want to make sure.
So I would argue you are being a great dog dad because you're giving him what his body and his lineage desires, which is to be free and to run wild. And so you're starting that process. Good job, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, but if you don't continue, then you're actively suppressing that and you're hurting and harming him. But
Oh no.
choice is yours.
Oh no.
When he
So
gets really big, he's going to chase squirrels while he's on the leash and tug you over.
He's not going to do that. He's a good boy.
He's a good boy.
He's a good boy. I'm probably going to limit his ceiling zebra time. We're probably going to limit those interactions because I don't really want to encourage him just like jumping over the fence and chasing rabbit through the neighborhood. But okay, maybe I'm being a bad dog dad. I don't know. I'm going to have another eggnog right now.
Or a good one.
Maybe
I
yeah.
I threw some coffee in my eggnog that diluted a little bit.
Ew.
Well, it's just like Irish coffee.
No, the coffee and the eggnog is good. Billy drinking out of his Stanley is actually making me want to throw up everywhere.
Okay, you know what?
Why?
You don't know how to clean stuff if it's that big of a deal.
You're telling a woman she doesn't know how to clean, Billy? Interesting.
Yeah. That's so goddamn progressive of me.
Yeah. Maybe that liberal arts education did work.
Mm.
When you're sipping out of your water next week and you still have a little taste of the Christmas season, you let me know.
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, it reminds me of the Phoenix Lights.
No way Billy would ever admit that though.
Yeah, that's true.
Never.
But it tastes exactly just like regular water.
I would suck that down and not complain at all.
Pause.
I wasn't gonna do it.
Damn.
I would suck that right down.
Suck that thing right down.
Complain
Love it.
at all. Jeez.
Don't
Oh, boy.
complain. Just take it all right to the face.
All right, so the official explanation was Operation Snowbird, which was a training program that was based out of the Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. And the first group of lights was later identified as a formation of A-10 Thunderbolts. A-10, we might know them as the tank killers.
You think you could identify those?
Oh, 1,000,000%. So easy to identify.
For sure?
It's the Warthog. Yeah, it is. They've tried to kill this aircraft so many times over its history because they're like, oh, we don't need this for close air support. It's usually the one that they bring in if there's like troops fighting a battle and you need somebody to come in and fire a shitload of like incendiary explosive bullets
Hell yeah.
at the enemy, or they can drop bombs, cluster bombs. But they're the ones that are brought in to like eliminate tanks and large battalions of troops that are on the ground.
Where does that rank in your favorite aircraft?
It's probably my favorite air-to-ground aircraft of all time, just because the military keeps trying to phase it out, and the actual forces fighting are like, no, we need this fucking plane.
Yeah.
It's awesome, and it can do everything. Like the modern aircrafts that have tried to take this out have failed because the A-10 it's built like a tank, so it can absorb a lot of damage, and it's also it's old reliable. The F-35 might be able to take it out. But the problem with the A-10, sorry if I'm digging a little bit too deep into aviation here. The problem with the A-10 is that if there's an enemy aircraft in the air, and to a certain extent, like a lot of surface to air missiles that are in the area, then the A-10 is like a sitting duck because it's not that fast. It's not that maneuverable. So if you have an opposing aircraft that has long-range missiles or medium-range missiles, they can just pick them off and shoot them down. So you have to have air dominance in that area. They can fly. They can take out anything. They're great for that sort of mission. But if there's other enemy aircraft in the area trying to attack, then the A-10's kind of fucked.
It was
But it's about
perfect for
lesson.
insurgencies, and especially the Middle East.
Yeah, and it's the one that's got the cannon on that goes brr, brr,
Yeah.
brr, and then
How much one of them Jones cost?
I could put you in an A-10 for probably $170 million is my guess. I actually have no idea. Rapid
or
fact check. Mad Dog.
800,000 Pepsi points.
That was an AV-AP Harrier
Yeah.
with
Wait,
a vertical
what?
takeoff landing.
What is it? Wait, what is? Say it again.
The A-10 Warthog. How much does one of those bad boys run you?
That's my favorite law case of all time.
It is good.
18.8 million.
Oh, it's only 18 million?
Really?
It says unit
Oh.
cost of a single A-10. Is it an A-10 Thunderbolt 2?
Yeah, we can go with that.
Is 18.8 million.
Wow.
But
okay.
It says, however, this figure may not include additional expenses such as research and development, training, and maintenance costs.
I was factoring all
And this
those
was in 2021, so Sleepy Joe.
Well, you could have gotten one
Facts.
for free. You could have
That
got one
thing's
for free in
31 now.
Afghanistan.
True.
Yeah, they're giving them away there.
Yeah, this is that was a bad estimate on my part. I apologize for this information.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's a beast of an aircraft. So they said that the first group was a bunch of A-10s that were flying over Phoenix, going back to Tucson, and they were flying information and maybe making turns at the same time. So in the dark night sky, if there's a group that are in a formation that is set up as a V, if they're doing these turns that are kind of coordinated, it could appear that their lights look like a giant V UFO. And then the second was more A-10s that were doing a different training exercise, and they were dropping flares. So the flares, those are like anti-missile, they're deterrents, they're defensive munitions that they can drop out, where you fire a flare and then a heat-seeking missile that's trying to chase the heat coming out of the engine of the aircraft will instead see a flare that's burning and decide to target that instead of the aircraft. So it's like a defensive capability. That's what they're saying the second one was a bunch of flares being fired off and falling to the ground and like drifting down together at the same time. So they said like nothing to see here. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it at all. You didn't see anything. And then the governor of Arizona gave an all-time explanation about what it was. This was Fife Symington III, which was the governor of Arizona at the time. He had a press conference, and he said that they found the responsible parties and that they will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And in the crowd at this press conference was one of his top aides dressed up to look like an alien. And he had like a silver suit on, and they brought him up and they're like, we got him. And he like made a joke about it. And then later on, like 20 years later, this dude saw a UFO of his own, and he said, we shouldn't be making fun of people that are doing these reports. These are serious that we need to take care of. It's like, dude, you had one of your aides dress up like an alien to make fun of people that thought this was UFO. I thought that was funny.
Damn.
Didn't he say also like those lights were like nothing? Because he was a former pilot as well. And he was like, that's nothing that could resemble that as anything that was man-made. That's what he said.
Yeah, he said. So later on, he actually said he's had a personal close encounter with an alien spacecraft, but he didn't talk about it because he didn't want to panic the populace. He said, I'm a pilot. I know just about every machine that flies. It was bigger than anything I've ever seen. It remains a great mystery. Other people saw it, responsible people. I don't know why people would ridicule it.
It's the responsible people.
Not a kook.
Never missed a homework assignment.
Not a kook, for the record. There was another incident of a mass, whatever we're going to call this, like a mass sighting of a UFO that was in 2007. Military officials said that they were also flares dropped by the F-16 Fighting Falcon. I could identify that one as well. But yeah, I guess flares.
Most of the time. Sometimes you get them wrong.
I did. The F-16 was the one that I fucked up at the Air and Water show when I said it was an F-18.
Very similar.
Not really.
To the layman, almost indistinguishable.
Yeah, a couple of numbers off. Like
Yeah,
to
maybe.
me, I was like, oh, that's fucking close. Good job.
Yeah.
Not like someone who, if you know a lot about planes, like you should probably know, but for 99% of people in the world, like, common mistake.
Yeah, I mean, you can the triangular wings on the F-16. It's pretty obvious, and also it's a single seater. I believe these were single seaters, and
That was an
F-18
all-time
dual
moment
seater.
when you and Billy were going back and forth about the domestic flight patterns of the whatever the fucking plane that was. That shit was hilarious.
Yeah, we had a little flyboy. We were both flysexual. Oh, when Billy said they saw a bunch of F-22s breaking the sound barrier over New York City.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was a good one.
Oh, that's got to make the compilation for the year.
Yeah. For sure. So the original lights were both blamed on A-10 aircraft that were flying over the central Arizona area at the time. And then on the 1-year anniversary of the lights, a local alternative weekly newspaper, the Phoenix New Times, ran a lengthy cover story about what happened on the night of March 13th, 1997. Its author, Tony Ortega, was the former top editor at the Village Voice, who reprinted the story in advance of the 20th anniversary of the lights in 2017. Many media outlets have either willfully or through laziness helped blur the line between reality and what they think they saw that night, which added to the confusion. So in the paper, it said, with the 20th anniversary upon us, we thought we'd post a copy of the story here at our own website in anticipation of what will likely be another wave of misinformation about the events of that night. Count on media outlets to once again fail their most basic responsibility to explain that there were two very distinct incidents that happened that night. An earlier V of lights traversed nearly the entire state and was identified as a group of planes flying in formation by an astronomer in Phoenix using a powerful telescope. Later, a drop of flares was seen over a military range southwest of the city. Because news outlets never make this clear, people who saw the planes argue that flares can't explain what they saw. and the people who saw the flares know that they didn't see planes. We cleared up that confusion with this story, and we also profiled the people who were profiting from the confusion they were causing by promoting nonsense about it. So I feel like that's actually a good explanation, is that people that saw flares know that they didn't see planes. People that saw planes didn't see flares. And when they hear the report being like, oh, it's just a flare, if you saw the very first thing that happened, you'd be like, bullshit, that's not a flare. I saw it with my own 2 eyes.
I think I'm just tired of there not being actual aliens. You know what I mean? Like, I just get tired of the reports. Like, I just want to say because I'm probably one of the most optimistic skeptics that there is as far as this is concerned. I would love to just have somebody visit us. It would be so, I don't know, inspiring, man. I think it would change the course. It would change the course of humanity, I think, for the better. And I'm just tired of these shit happened, but it didn't happen shits.
Yeah.
It's like the arrow paradox. It's just
Learn.
everyone's like, the whistleblower's here, Gorsuch is, testifying. We're getting closer and closer. Like every time we're just halfway closer, but it just never happens.
Yeah. I've been getting really into paradoxes recently.
What's your
I
favorite?
don't even know if I cited that right thing.
Fermi's paradox.
I'm not familiar.
That's the one that says that with all the stars and all the planets that we know exist, there has to be intelligent life out there. Like mathematically, it's 99.999999999% that there's intelligent life out there, but we have yet to reach contact with any of it. The arrow paradox, that's the one. I think Billy used it, right?
Yeah, I did.
That's the
Yeah,
one.
for the most part.
That's one where Zeno said, like, an arrow is actually not traveling through the air because it's just a snapshot. Every moment in time is a snapshot in time, and no movement can happen within these individual snapshots in time. It has to be still. So the arrow will never get somewhere. You could also extrapolate that and say, like, if I fired an arrow at Big T, it would never hit you because it would have to get 50% of the way to you. And then from that point, it would have to get another 50% of the way to you. And then from that point, it would have to get another 50% of the way to Big T. Therefore, it would never actually ever hit him.
That makes no sense.
Well, yeah, because
I
you could
used the
just say
wrong
the
one.
same thing with 100%. It has to get 100% of the way to me.
But I didn't. I said, true or false, Big T, at some point, the arrow would have to get 50% of the way to you.
That is true.
And then from that point, it would have to eventually travel another 50%.
Yes,
of the way.
the things we're saying are both true. They're not mutually exclusive.
But I think where that fails is you're operating from the premise that there's an infinite amount of space between him and the arrow, which is not the case.
Well, there's an infinite amount of numbers,
But not
So-
space.
Right, but
Space,
it
it's
can
quantifiable.
travel
that means
through
there's
all
an
the numbers.
infinite amount of decimal points.
But not
So-
space though. But I'm saying space is quantifiable. Mathematically, I guess it makes sense, but mathematically when you're talking about space in something that's quantifiable, that shit makes zero sense.
Well, think about an atom, right? It's so small,
Right.
but then he gets halfway through the atom before he gets a full way through, and then he gets 3/4 of a way through an atom before he gets, and then
No, I understand that.
7/8. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is you're operating from the premise that there's infinite amount of space. When if I grant you the premise that there's 50% of the space between him and Big T, right, before you shoot the arrow, and I grant you that, you would have to grant me, okay, is there infinite amount of space between him and the arrow?
No.
Or is there finite?
There's not infinite, so you could never actually fire the arrow. Because my hand would never be able to reach the end of the arrow to pull it back on the bow.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so nothing happens. What we can take from this is that Zeno was definitely an incel. That was like sitting around with way too much time on his hands.
Yeah.
And he like goes down to the bar. He's like, check this shit out. You're never going to be able to drink that beer.
They go,
And
"Yeah?"
why, Zeno? Well, because it has to travel 50% of the way to your mouth, and then they're just pounded the beer and beat the fuck out of him. I bet that he was probably so annoying to hang around.
No, because
Sounds
they'd
like
only
elite.
hang around other dudes who think too much and have so much time on their hands. Because like I was thinking about this, like people had to do so much more stuff in a day just to survive so much longer ago, and even now, like people had to go get fresh water, which still occurs today in like in certain places. People have to like go get food. You can't, make their own food, gather the ingredients. There's no supermarkets, and there were so many more tasks at hand in a day. But these dudes had zero tasks, and all they had to do was think. That's
Mm-hmm.
wild.
Wait, when were there no supermarkets?
There's like supermarkets, I think, were invented in the last 50 years, 40, 50, 60 years.
Okay,
I don't
maybe
think that's true.
supermarkets, but
Supermarkets,
markets.
but
Yeah.
markets have been around forever. But like the idea, like in many agrarian communities, they had to like gather all the raw ingredients before making food.
Okay, yeah.
So it's just so much more tasks in a day they had to accomplish. Whereas like we can just turn on the water and, going back, getting that amount of fresh water was just so much more time intensive to the average person.
Yeah, it's not that far removed for a lot of communities too.
I know. I saw it and I was just like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
there's like so much more time that needs to be dedicated to other things.
Yeah. So my buddy who from Uganda, he would always say that like it's one of the things he was responsible for. He used to walk like 5 miles of water, 5 miles every day to go get water, and he had to bring it back. Like that was his job. Also, why he don't fuck with dogs. My mans don't fuck with dogs because like out there, like those dogs are like they wild dogs. They're not
Yeah.
like your little pets out here. They're like that's how they are in nature. And he used to like fight them off and shit. And so that man, because there's not a lot of people that don't like dogs. It's just like a rare thing. Everybody loves these things. And so like I used to tell people like dogs, like I get the same shit. But when I met him, I was like, and I think we was going to somebody's house, and and somebody said like, oh, I got a dog. I was like, I'm not going there. And he looked at me and was like, you don't fuck with dogs either. I was like, no, I don't fuck with dogs. That was
Yeah.
a bonding moment for us.
We had some dogs on the practice field and on the game field that I
Wow.
was like, I get it. Like I was like, I don't fuck with those dogs.
Can you
That's how
imagine
I feel,
watching?
Billy.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, like if those things bite me, I have to like probably fly back to America ASAP.
You should show them game footage of like a college in America where in the middle of a massive game, they've got the cute little golden retriever that sprints out on the field, gets the tee, and then runs back to the sideline.
Has like sweaters and their mascots. Like
I took a picture of some of the stray dogs and I showed my dog and I was like, you should be more grateful that you just sit on the couch all day.
That's good parenting.
little privileged dog you got, huh?
Yeah. I have a very privileged dog.
There's starving dogs in Africa right now that would kill for that meal.
Yeah.
Clean your plate.
Clean your plate.
Also involved in the Phoenix Lights was Kurt Russell. You know, the
Okay.
actor Kurt Russell. So he went on the BBC and he went on Jimmy Kimmel and said that he saw the Phoenix Lights while he was flying into Phoenix. He reported the lights to Phoenix Sky Harbor International Airport. So he might have been the first person to report the Phoenix Lights that night.
Did you know he was a pilot?
I did not know that.
I didn't either.
Did you
A
know that
lot of rich people get their like pilot licenses.
Did you know that Harrison Ford's
I
a
don't
pilot?
think a lot.
Yeah, that's how, and that's why all the crazy celebrity deaths happen because they all like
Like
You know what I'm
who?
saying?
Yeah, the majority of plane crashes they're never commercial. They're always them small
yeah
little
the small
yeah, and that's why I don't
JFK
be on them
Jr..
shits. I don't give a fuck private. Nope, I'm straight. I'm going
Yeah.
it's big 747 where if we go down together, god damn it.
JFK Jr.
And Carolyn Bessette.
When he was flying out to what island was he going to?
I think
Martha's
Nantucket?
Vineyard.
Yeah, one of
Wha-
the
wha-
like Cape Cod Islands.
One of those two, and he was taking off, and it was like really foggy, and he wasn't really certified to be an instruments only pilot. He could fly with like visual aids, but he wasn't certified to like maneuver his aircraft in dense fog or like dense, where you have to look down at the dials and that tells you where you're at in the sky. And then he got lost in the fog and then crashed his shit.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
yeah,
so one.
No, Harrison Ford also a pilot. Look up Harrison Ford's stats. Mad Dog, can we look those up? Harrison Ford as a pilot, I think he's crashed his plane 3 times.
Are you serious?
Yeah. The most recent
That's
one
wild.
happened, he like crashed on the golf course and got out. He's like, sorry guys. don't mean to hold you up. Just play through.
You know, like in basketball, they say if you're shooting 60% from 3, you're not shooting enough, and if you're shooting 20%, you're shooting way too much. If you have been involved in more than one plane crash, you are flying planes way too much.
Yeah, for sure.
Every person
gosh.
should have a max of 1 plane crash. It should either kill you or you should never get in a plane ever again.
And you shouldn't need somebody else to tell you that. That should be
Right.
like if I crashed a plane I was in, I'd be like, never getting on a plane again.
Wait, okay. Can I give you the rundown?
Yes, please.
Okay. So he's been flying for over 40 years. So that's a long time. But here's a list of some of Ford's biggest mishaps throughout the years of flying. And 1999, he had emergency landing in a riverbed. So not all these are like
That's a
crash.
crash.
That'll happen.
That's a
Okay.
crash landing.
Harrison Ford experienced a nearly fatal air crash for the first time, but not the last. That's what it says in this article. In a dry riverbed. Okay. So that was 99. 2000, he was blown off a runway. A gust of wind had hit the craft, forcing Ford to lose control. The single-engine aircraft had minor damage, and Ford recuperated in Lincoln, Nebraska overnight. 2001, Harrison Ford saves a Boy Scout that was missing in Yellowstone, and he led a rescue team. So not a crash.
Okay.
2015, crash landing on a golf course.
Yeah. So I'm going to count that as 3 plane crashes.
Yeah. And then 2017, Harrison Ford discusses wildfire rescue, which I guess he helped with that, so I don't think that's a bad thing. Also 2017, lands on a taxiway instead of a runway.
That's a mistake. That's a
Yeah.
mistake. That's day one stuff, Harrison.
And it says the movie star avoided real disciplinary action for this serious violation, but he was required by the FAA to complete awareness training.
Rules for thee, not for me.
Right. And then in 2020, this is the end, Ford crosses a runway and gets scolded. He landed at the Hawthorne Airport outside of Los Angeles when a tower instructed him clearly to wait for another aircraft to make a touch-and-go landing before Ford could taxi across the runway. Ford did not and was reamed out by the air traffic controller for it. Although there was no danger of a crash, according to the FAA, Ford's publicist revealed that the actor did apologize and own up to the mistake.
Seems like the FAA needs to bring the hammer down on this guy.
Yeah, he needs to be grounded.
Yeah.
Literally.
Literally.
This dude should not be behind a stick.
Yeah, that's actually
Did they-
kind of crazy.
Do you think they sorry, I just left, so if you said this, do you think they test their BAC after they crash land?
I think yes, I do. I think that's part of the standard.
Like to make sure they weren't drunk flying?
That's a crazy thing to do.
Drink and fly. I bet
Just
you it
think about
happens more often than we think.
Yeah, especially airline pilots because no one's pulling you over in the skies.
It's true. That'd be funny if there was a cop airplane.
Sir, pull over. Sir,
Sir, pull
please
over.
bring your flight down.
Oh,
You think there are commercial airline pilots flying drunk?
Yes, that is literally the plot to Flight, and it's a bigger issue than you think.
So I was in
I-
LA this last
I
weekend.
disagree
and,
vehemently.
I
No, I was-
disagree with you. Their
I don't
pilots
think
have
they-
really bad mental health issues.
I don't think they
a lot
be
of
faded
professions.
like that, but they definitely have a drink. So I was at this bar at my hotel before my flight, the night before my flight, and some dude comes over. He got his wings on and shit. I was like, "Oh, you're a pilot?" He was like, "Yeah." And so we just got to chopping it up, and I was like, "Yo, what's the flight that we were sort of talking?" I was asking him all these questions I had, and one of the questions was, how much work do you actually do during a flight? Like what do you actually do? And he was like, honestly, man, he's like 95% of it is autopilot. I was like, where? He was like, yeah, I mean, some from the takeoff stuff, and then some of the landing stuff, we got to be active. He said, but for the most part, we just put that thing on autopilot. And I'm just like, yeah, they probably in there having a drink or two. They were just sitting there.
So it says that
What is it?
FAA regulations state that pilots cannot consume alcohol within 8 hours of duty, and those are just the minimums. They recommend a complete 24-hour abstention before flights, and also there are a lot of articles that I'm seeing where pilots, most of the time they're caught, but they're suspended when they arrive drunk to a flight.
Yeah, it happens occasionally. There was one story about a dude that was trying to go through the airport, and he was bringing his bottle of vodka with him, and he was drunk. He'd been like on a bender, and then he tries to sneak it through security. They ask to check his bag, and then he makes some excuse, goes to the bathroom, and like throws away his bottle of vodka. Then they find the bottle of vodka in there, and he was like hammered. I think he had like a 0.18 or something like that. It happens every now and again, but usually your fellow pilot, your co-pilot, would rat you out and be like, "Hey, this guy's hammered." But to me, that's kind of crazy that it's only like an 8-hour window where you're not allowed to consume alcohol. I would hope that it would be longer than that.
That says it's just the bare minimum, and you're not supposed to drink the whole day before because of how hangovers can impact your flying skills.
Yeah.
I mean, 8 hours should usually be enough.
Maybe.
But I agree with you. I would prefer.
Like, have you ever? Maybe not you, Big T, because you don't get down like that. But Billy, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to bed after a night and evening and, or I'll say like day drinking that folds into evening drinking that folds into a little bit of night drinking? You go to bed, you fall asleep at midnight.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that you would be able to pilot an aircraft at 8 a.m. the next day?
When the darty turns to a narty and you have 5 a.m. lift, yeah. Whoa, no. The question at hand, have I woken up drunk? Yes. When we had like we're partying in the night and then had to wake up for like early morning lift and you're like, oh shit, I'm still drunk. And you usually realize when the first time you pick up the weights because it feels weird when you're drinking and lifting. Would I be able to pilot an aircraft? No. Political answer, no.
I think I'd be able to.
Yeah, you think? Well,
Do you think you could land a plane?
Yeah.
Political answer, no.
If I knew how to land a plane before, yes.
Well, no. I'm saying this is like a question that like women love asking dudes is, do you think in an emergency you could land a commercial aircraft?
Oh, hell no. I mean, I don't know the first thing about planes.
A lot of people have done it while people direct them on the radio.
Okay, yeah. If somebody's directing me,
Yeah.
I think I'll get it done.
I don't know if that's true in terms of a commercial plane. There might have been like one guy that did it.
I think so, though.
No, we had this conversation and I got in trouble for
how
saying,
long do I
has
have?
women ever done it? And then you guys were like, dude.
Yeah, that's pretty sexy. But how long do I have?
I mean, let's say you're the only person on this flight for whatever reason, and both pilots are incapacitated, and then but you have 45 minutes remaining in the flight.
Oh yeah, do I have radio contact?
Yeah,
I absolutely. I
kind of almost fall into that category, but I feel like
Absolutely.
It is difficult.
Yeah.
But as long as they're telling you, hey, hit this button, pull this.
That's what I'm saying. But you gotta watch out for this. You gotta do it. Absolutely. Will it be the most perfect landing of all time? No, but I can get me down.
There's a lot more leeway than you
after
think.
I get the slumped. After I get the slumped pilot out of his fucking seat, why am I there alone? What the
I
fuck
think
is
you
he
guys could do it if somebody was in the cockpit with you, telling you what to do.
doing? Here
But
he goes.
If they're on the ground,
Gatekeeping planes again. Here
I'm
he goes.
saying if they're on the ground, they're not in there with you. They don't know exactly what angle your wings are at. They don't know what your exact descent rate is.
He said I
at
got
any given
45
second.
minutes. He said I got 45 minutes. Now, if I got 45 minutes, that's the type of information you relay, right? You be like, okay, listen, you're going to need to know about wing angles, right? You have to pay attention to this. You have to do this. You have to do this. There's plenty of time. 45 minutes is a long time before you land. It's almost a full flight, right? So before 45 minutes, I feel like you can coach somebody into like landing the plane. I think
I could do it. I don't know if you guys could do it.
You're a hater, that's why.
Yeah. Why? Because we couldn't work the radio. Do you know how to work a radio in those flight simulators?
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Oh
So
shit, that's another thing. If I don't,
none
I
of
don't
us know how to work the radio.
Yeah. All right. But Big T granted me the fact that I have radio communication.
Yeah,
If I
you're
have-
talking to the air traffic control.
If I'm talking to Houston, then I think Houston can guide me down.
The thing is, none of us know how to talk to Houston and work the radio. We could probably figure it out.
He gave it to me, man. He gave it to me. But if I have no radio, nope, we just gonna die. I'm gonna try. Don't get me twisted. I'm gonna be in that bitch doing this shit here. But like I'm gonna give it a go. But I don't think I could do it if I don't have radio communication.
I would actually consider it a victory if the plane crashed within like 10 miles of the airport. I'd be like, I got pretty close.
No, I think you can do it without radio communication. I believe you could do it.
I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it without radio communication.
I think you could.
Maybe if it was a clear day, and you put me in the cockpit, and we're flying directly at our bearing is already going towards the airport, and I had 45 minutes. I think I could get us to the runway.
If you can
I
even
make no
just
guarantees
crash.
about what happens after the plane impacts the runway.
Okay, so
Right.
how do you descend? Do you descend by pushing it down? How do you
So-
descend?
Interesting, Aaron. That's a good question. And there's probably a lot of pilots listening to this broadcast right now that are like, PFT is so full of shit. He doesn't know what he's talking about. But at a certain point, the angle of your aircraft controls your speed, and the velocity of your aircraft, the thrust of your aircraft, controls your altitude, which is kind of like backwards. But ideally, what you want
So
is
it's like Independence Day when he's saying when some asshole put this thing upside down where his back is forward and forward is back. I don't know if you remember that part
Yeah.
of Independence Day.
But as you're landing, you want the nose pointing up just a little bit, and then you let the back wheels impact the ground first, then you ease the nose down.
Well, how do you how do you go from really high to really low? Like
So
is that something on the wings?
So you do have to point the nose of the aircraft down a little bit to start descending, and you want to descend at like a very steady, long path. It's called the glide slope, and then as you're going down, you reduce your throttle, you put your flaps down, and the flaps on the wing give you more lift. So that way you
To
can
go up so you can land booty first.
booty first. Yeah.
I think I could do it. I think you definitely could do it. But I think if somebody coached me, I think I'd do it. Because is there like a brake and you know what I mean? Like what do the foot
rudders?
pedals do?
Yeah, you got rudders down at your feet, and that controls your nose going side to side. Whereas
What?
the
No,
stick,
no.
when you turn the stick, that controls the overall bank angle of your aircraft, including the wings, right?
Okay.
So the rudders, if I'm a plane right now, the rudder makes you go like this, looking around.
To turn. Okay.
And then the bank angle, you do turn using the bank angle, but the rudders just control like where the nose of your plane is pointed while keeping the wings at the same angle that they're at.
Okay.
So I think I could do it. I hope I never have to. Actually, no. I tell you what, I think I would be more likely to land like an F-15 than a commercial airline.
What's the difference?
More of a personal thing. More maneuverable, smaller, probably not as many buttons that you have to press.
No, in an F-50, if you said like a Cessna or a P-51,
Yeah.
that would be so much easier than a F-15 with all the crazy buttons in there and
Cessna.
navigation.
Well, again, I'm talking on the radio, but yeah, probably a Cessna. I could land a
Like
Cessna.
that's just a stick.
Yeah, I could land a Cessna.
I mean, that's the easiest. That's what all the celebrities learn to fly. My grandfather was a bush pilot in Alaska in a part of his life, and that's what he flew.
Kind of downplaying PFT's skill set there. It's okay.
So after Kurt Russell reported it, 2 years later, his wife Goldie Hawn was watching a documentary about the Phoenix Lights, and then that night she said she felt like she was Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Russell said he heard the narrator say the lights were reported by a general aviation pilot who was landing, and that was him. So he was the first person. Kurt Russell was the first person to report the Phoenix Lights. Kind of crazy. John McCain got in on the action. He called for an investigation into the incident, and then he found out the explanation, which he bought. He said that was an actual, the A-10s were the cause of that. Also, McCain was a big-time UFO guy. So he did what I think all of us would do if we were in the Senate, which would be every time there's a UFO reported somewhere, you just go to like the intelligence, to like the military intelligence. You're like, hey, just tell me what actually happened here. You try to get all the intel about like, tell me about the UFOs. Be honest with me. So he's a big time UFO guy, but he did buy the official explanation in that particular instance. And yeah, the governor, as we said, flip-flopped on it. And it was actually the governor's chief of staff that he made dress up as an alien at that press conference. That's kind of emasculating, isn't
That
it?
is the worst, dog. Like, hey, yo, this is what we gonna do. And there's no way he volunteered. He'd be like, come on, boss. Do I really gotta do this, boss? Yeah. These are gonna be funny as shit. Dude.
I'm gonna I have to put the suit on. What about this belt? This silver belt's really uncomfortable. You have to put the belt on, dude.
That's a fucked up position to put like anybody that works for you in that position. Because then it's like, if they don't do it, you're always looking at them like, are they really a team player? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so people have been talking about these Phoenix lights for a while. At a city council meeting weeks after the lights disappeared, they were asked if anybody knew what the object was, if officials could look into it. And the former city council woman, Frances Emma Barwood, said that she was met by a whole bunch of stares. After the meeting, one of the city managers came over to me and said, "You shouldn't have asked that question." Though Barwood herself did not witness the lights after she brought them up at the meeting, hundreds of witnesses reached out to her. She marveled that their stories were similar. There was no doubt in my mind you can't get that many people to agree on the same object. And then a cartoon was published in the Arizona Republic showing that Barwood had a light switch on her forehead and an I love UFOs button on her jacket. The cartoon read, "Those mysterious lights over Phoenix that are on, but nobody's home." There was another cartoon in the paper with a rocket going in one year and out the other, one with Dr. Spock. So they made fun of her for asking, we should look more into these Phoenix lights. Kind of mean.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
Kind of
But
mean,
warranted.
but warranted a little bit.
I would have done it for sure.
Would you?
Yeah, I'd have made fun of her, especially if it was the homie.
So in 2007, there was another version of the Phoenix lights that occurred with amber-colored lights appearing in the sky over the region. And the citation for it was, again, flares from a training flight. And a lot of people were skeptical about the flare explanation. Arizona Republic reporter Ann Ryman, who lives in Deer Valley, reported seeing 4 lights in a square shape that eventually became a triangular shape. Those lights were moving to the east. They disappeared one by one. She said the lights were visible for about 13 minutes at about 8 p.m. One North Phoenix resident who wished to remain anonymous said he saw 4 or 5 red lights lined up in a straight line and spaced apart evenly. The lights slowly moved east and became dimmer as witnesses watched. He said the last light remained in the sky the longest. Then 3 jets came from the west and traveled in the direction of the red lights. An official from Luke Air Force Base said that they do not have any aircraft in the sky tonight, that the lights are not part of any Air Force activities. But again, the explanation for that was flares from an airplane. So I guess an aircraft could drop flares, and then as they're falling down to earth, they turn around, come back, fly back towards the flares that they dropped, or nearby the flares they dropped, and then that would look like a jet trying to intercept whatever object that you thought that was. Yeah,
This is the thing, though. There's never been any government explanation of anything that has been unilaterally accepted. Like, think about anything the government has ever said. There's always somebody saying,
Yeah.
So it's tough on the government end. They get my empathy from that perspective.
There's a lot of money to be made if you're the person that says, like, don't believe what this person's saying right now, and then you become the person that's like anti-government, no matter what the incident is. Sometimes it's right, sometimes it's wrong.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough position to be in, man.
Thoughts and prayers to the government.
Thoughts and prayers.
They're trying to do the right thing, guys, all the time. So that's the Phoenix Lights. Shout out to Mike for putting together the research document on this. Did a very good job.
Kind of underrated badass Kurt Russell, now that I know that he is a pilot.
Yeah.
Played minor league baseball.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah. Have you not seen The Battered Bastards of Baseball?
No.
Oh, maybe the best sports documentary ever made. I believe it's Kurt Russell's dad was the owner of an independent minor league team in Portland, and it's you need to watch that over Christmas.
The Portland Mavericks.
And tell me about it when you watch it. I think it's my favorite sports documentary ever.
Wow.
Also, isn't Kurt Russell's son in the NHL?
I don't know. Well, Kurt Russell's like old as shit, so I can't imagine.
Let's see. Kurt Russell's son.
What's old as shit to you?
Wyatt
Nikki?
Russell.
Well, 70s should be too old to have a son in the NHL, probably.
I don't think he is.
He's
Oh.
72.
Maybe not.
Wyatt Russell is an American actor and former ice hockey player.
Oh, former.
How old is Kez?
How old is Kurt Russell?
72.
Yeah.
I was gonna guess 75.
Damn.
But he didn't just play for his dad's team. I think he played like legit, like affiliated minor league baseball and was pretty good.
You know me for old yesterday? Watching Home Alone. And like, like there's people like in the stores, you know what I'm saying, shopping or whatever the case may be, right? And there's like little kids, and you think like right now them little kids like 30, 40 years old. That's fucking crazy, dog.
Macaulay Culkin, probably 40, right?
Yeah, he's up there. Yeah, he's up there. And he still look like the little
Yeah, he does.
He's
little
43.
neglected. He's 43. Damn,
What?
I didn't know he was older
And
than
just
me.
got a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Younger
looking
than
up
I
That
thought.
should have been happened.
Yeah, I
Wait,
agree.
hold on. Don't the star. Correct me if I'm wrong. And fact check me live, Maddie. But I think if you get a star on the Walk of Fame or the Hollywood, whatever the shit is called, you have to like pay for it, and you have to like. I think maybe I don't know if it's monthly or annually, but you have to pay for that. Correct me if I could be
A
wrong
fee-
about that though.
Okay, so it says a fee of $75,000 payable at time of selection is collected to pay for the creation and installation of the star, as well as general maintenance for the Walk of Fame.
Gotcha. Okay,
That's
so
how much?
Gotcha.
$75K.
That's a racket.
that's definitely worth it though. Immortalized on
think?
the
It
streets
says
of
it's
Hollywood.
like it says it's
Yeah.
a sponsorship fee, and it's just used to pay for the like.
It's just people trampling over your name.
Yeah.
It's
Well-
a tourist attraction. 1, 2, like it's cool to. Have you ever been to Hollywood?
I have not.
Nope.
So like when you
Mhm.
go and you kind of just like walk around, it's cool to see names and it's a dope little aspect of and to me like if you earned one or you garner one, like usually people do it when they older, right? When they older or the estate of people or whatever. And by that time you already got your money. And it's like a cool little event. They have your own thing. Snoop had just got one. Dr. Dre got one. I was watching the other, and it's like a cool little event that just kind of commemorates your lifetime and people acknowledging the fact that, you know what I'm saying, we appreciated what you did on the earth, dog. It's cool, man.
I agree. It's just a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
But I think at that point, like 75, it ain't.
I'm looking at the most recent inductees.
Wait, PFT.
Yep.
Hank is in here. Did you know you had an interview at 2?
Oh fuck! What?
He said, "Oh fuck, what?" He said, "Oh fuck." Hold on.
All right. Catch y'all later.
Peace.
Wait,
I'd
hold
rather
on,
be
hold on.
I'd rather be watching PFT or PMT. What the fuck that shit is? We'll finish it out. Fuck him.
Yeah, we've got a.
PFT got drunk and missed his interview.
I love that. Absolutely. That's actually amazing. Hey, keep all this shit in too. Like
He
Wait.
got lit. He got lit off the eggnog.
Show her my
Hank
mans.
just walked in and was like, "Did PFT know he has an interview at 2? And it's currently, if we keep this in, it's 2:12,
Yeah.
and it's
Oh.
Jules.
over
Jules is
1,000%
here.
keeping this in.
Sorry
So,
to
yeah.
But
sorry
keep-
to
you
end
gotta-
that so abruptly.
Oh, you got to keep all that shit in. It's hilarious.
That is
I
very
think
funny.
that shit is hilarious. All right, so we're gonna wrap this episode up. PFT has, bigger and better fish
He
to
has to go
fry.
stand on his own business.
He has to go stand on his own business.
look,
He didn't even say goodbye. That's what the crazy part is. He didn't even say goodbye.
Well, he
just
knows
kinda-
he's about
Well, he
to
is
get in
12
trouble.
minutes late.
Yeah.
Man's ain't gonna get in trouble, man. There's 3 people at that company that cannot get in trouble.
Well, let's see what interview it was.
It's
Because
Julian.
Julian
It's
Edelman.
Julian Edelman.
Well,
okay,
maybe
that's
I don't know
fine.
If we're
They
allowed
can
to
be
say that or
late.
not, but-
He was on
For
the yak.
Julian.
He was on the yak. Like he's
Okay.
here.
Yeah, he'll be fine. All
That's
right,
fine.
but we appreciate every one of y'all, man. Have some eggnog for the boys. Billy's fans, stop fucking tagging me.
I honestly, I want to say something really quick.
Okay. Eggnog is rolling.
Eggnog is rolling. If you want to say something mean to either me or Arian in regards to like something mad, just send it to the other person, because you know what I'm saying?
No.
Yeah,
Because I'm getting a bunch of
I
people
don't
who are
want to
like,
say that shit.
yo, Arian fucking owned you. Like, just like send a compliment to Arian
Yeah, but those
instead
are
of
facts,
sending
though.
like,
Hey,
yeah, like
shout out
it's
to those
much
people. No, I'm
more.
just joking. I'm joking.
Yeah. Like
You know what's funny about this show? That's
yeah.
wild. It's like we obviously genuinely like each other, like right. All of us get along, right? But like some of the like some of the rhetoric around the show, like the comments and shit, it just be like, "Fuck this dude," but I'm like, "God damn, they don't really say like we rock with each other." So it's not like it's not that crucial. Like you could just have like fun debates with your people, dog, and it don't got to be on some like fuck him or fuck it. He's got to go. None of us are going.
Yeah.
None of us are going. Let it go. Like this is
Billy
the show.
scored, so he avoided it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Billy
Billy-
scored. He was
Right, it
almost
was
out of here.
close.
I stood on my business.
You
That's more
did
fun when you say it.
without running misdirection, bro. Like what
No,
the
no,
fuck?
we ran misdirection. We just didn't run like triple reverses. Like we
didn't say
faked
triple.
one way and gave it the other way.
All right,
Like
all right. I'll review the film and I'll make that determination.
I will send you the film.
Send it to. Oh, it's already. Oh, you already got it.
We're
I'm
getting.
gonna watch it.
We can't
Matter of fact,
release it yet.
I
'Cause I wanna
might. How about this? You could do a stream. We could do a stream where we review the Ugandan film.
You could.
That would be
yeah,
fun.
I want
That
to
would be fun
watch
as
that
shit.
as well.
That would be fun.
We would have to release it after
For sure.
video
for sure,
because
for
like
sure.
like we could put out a highlight tape and a low light tape, but like that might spoil a lot for the videos
Yeah.
because it was really awesome. And Donnie worked really hard on the editing and everything, so I don't want to put too much of that film out yet, but it's pretty. It was. I will one little spoiler. We pulled a Sean Payton at kicking off in halftime.
Oh, you
So-
said that last episode.
That was pretty insane.
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to see the footage, man, for sure.
Yeah.
But to wrap it up, none of us are going anywhere. We appreciate all your love, all the support, man. It's love. It's always love, man. If you do want to send some hate, send it to PFT because he don't get enough. You know what I
That's
mean?
100% true.
Yeah.
So if you want to say, and it don't even gotta be, you don't even have to believe it. Just send it. You're like, you know what? Fuck you, PFT. You got owned
Yeah.
by, you know what I'm saying? Just start fucking with him. Just start fucking with him. He gets too much love and I don't like it. You know what I mean? It's a little toxic. on my
After
end, but
Christmas,
I'm,
though.
I'm okay
Yeah.
with that.
Just
Christmas.
January
December 26th,
1st, hammer
flood
it.
this motherfucker with hate. I would love that.
It's the
shit,
worst
man.
day of the
And
year anyway.
It'd be so funny too because he has no idea where it's coming. He's like, God damn, man, what happened, man? And it's just like just everybody on his bumper all day. It'd be hilarious.
Yeah,
bro.
December 26th, everybody tweet him how much you hate him, and all like, find the first couple in the morning and send them to the group chat and be like, "Are y'all seeing this?" Like,
Yeah, oh yeah, and then,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
We're not gonna. We can't clip this. We can't.
Hey,
let the
do
secret
no,
be-
do a whole
no,
bunch of
no.
like Macrodosing would be so much better if PFT.
Yes.
Hey,
Yes.
this should be
Yes.
fucking hilarious. The whole bunch of them, just flood his fucking mentions. That'd be hilarious. man.
This is the
Oh,
type of
that'd be
prank
so
I've always
good.
wanted to pull when PFT isn't here, and everyone's like, and I'm like, yo, let's pull a prank when he's not here, and you guys are like, nah, dude, that's stupid, but like, this is the type of shit we should be doing.
The context matters. This is not how you brought it up, but it's okay, brother.
I have good ideas, not the best execution.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
We'll
that's a
go
good
with
way to describe Billy.
Good idea. It's not the best
Well-intentioned.
execution.
Well intentioned.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Means
Facts,
well.
facts.
Yeah.
All right, drink some eggnog. Much love. We'll catch y'all on the next joint. I think we're gonna do a recap and then we're gonna do some voicemails
We
for
are.
love. So send in your voicemails, or this is gonna be out by then already.
Yeah.
we're
don't
doing the voicemails in 20
or
minutes.
yeah.
So
just send them. But
Hey, just send them
Send 'em for
anyways.
the
We love
next
them.
Send 'em
We
anyway.
love them.
But let's really top it off for the voicemails, so it's like drunk voicemails.
okay. Man.
I mean,
All
you've
right,
got like
man.
15 minutes.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
chug.
Yep.
So next
right,
week
y'all.
we'll have the voicemails with, I think, a best of 2023.
Yep.
Yeah.
Much love. Happy
George
Merry
Santos.
Christmas. Say it again. I don't care. From my atheist household to yours. Keep the reason for the season. I love it. This is the best time of the year, man. Love your family. Call the people that you love. Tell them you love them. Much love. Appreciate y'all.